Good morning, everyone. The Ramakrishna Mission, Vidyapith, Deoghar, welcomes you to the second day's program of our Centenary celebration, the highlight of which is a seminar on empowering the youth, the Vivekananda way. The session begins with the Vedic Mangalachar to be performed by Brahmachari Atula Chaitanya, Brahmachari Prabhu Chaitanya, and Brahmachari Shabda. Now may I please welcome our revered Brahmachari Maharajas for the Vedic Mangalachar.
शन्नो मित्रः वरुणः शन्नो भवतर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ वेदमनुच्चाचार्यन्ते वासिनः मनुष्यास्ति सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः आचार्याय प्रियं धनमाहृत्य प्रजातन्तुं मा व्यवच्छेत्सेः सत्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यं कुशलान्न प्रमदितव्यं भूत्यैन प्रमदितव्यं स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं देवप्रतिकार्याभ्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव यान्यनवद्यानि कर्माणि तानि सेवितव्यानि न इतराणि यानि अस्माकं सुचरितानि तानि त्वयोपास्यानि न इतराणि एके चास्मच्छ्रेयागंसो ब्राह्मणाः तेषां त्वयासनेन प्रश्वसितव्यं श्रद्धया देयम् अश्रद्धया देयं श्रिया देयं ह्रिया देयं भिया देयं संविदा देयम् अथ यदि ते कर्म विचिकित्सा वा वृत्तविचिकित्सा वा स्यात् एतत्र ब्राह्मणाः सम्मर्षिणः युक्ताः अलुक्षा धर्मकामा स्युः यथा ते तत्र वर्तेरन् तथा तत्र वर्तेथाः अथाभ्याख्यातेषु एतत्र ब्राह्मणाः सम्मर्षिणः युक्ताः अलुक्षा धर्मकामा स्युः यथा ते तेषु वर्तेरन् तथा तेषु वर्तेथाः एष आदेशः एष उपदेशः एषा वेदोपनिषत् एतदनुशासनम् एवमुपासितव्यम् एवमुचैतदुपास्यम् शन्नो मित्रः संवरुणः शन्नो भवर्तर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मवादिशं ऋतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत् तद्वक्तारमावीत् आवीन्माम् आवीत् वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत्
We are indeed very glad and elated to announce that we have amongst us Srimad Swami Suviranandji Maharaj, General Secretary of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. Revered Maharaj will be delivering the Benedictory Address of the aforementioned seminar today. The participants of the seminar are Swami Suparnanand, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gol Park. Swami Shantatmanand, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, New Delhi. Swami Tattvasaranand, Principal, Probationers Training Center, Belur Math. Swami Shastragyanand, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Sharodapith, Belur. Shri Torun Goswami, Resident Editor, Millennium Post, ex-City Editor, The Statesman, and Shri Shakti Prasad Mishra, the moderator of the seminar. Before going on any further, I would like to humbly request a revered Secretary Maharaj, Swami Jayantanandji Maharaj, to please kindly come to the stage and felicitate our speakers. Our Secretary Maharaj, the felicitation shall begin with Swami Suparnanandji Maharaj. Swami Suviranandji Maharaj, General Secretary, Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. Swami Thank you so much, Maharaj, for felicitating our speakers on the dais. Now may I please request Shri Shakti Prasad Mishra sir to introduce the topic of the seminar and deliver his introductory words.
Om Ano Bhadra Kratabo Yantu Vishwataha. Let noble thoughts come to us from every side. With respectful pranam and namaskar to one and all, my dear audience, there are three things that are happening in the world today. The world is increasingly going digital, the world is going herbal, and the world by necessity is going spiritual. And India has the potentiality to reign supreme in all three spheres. As you all know, the 19th century was called the industrial age, and the 20th century was an age of science and technology, and the 21st century is going to be the century of innovation, knowledge and ideas. And India stands a very good chance of being the emperor of this new age, of this new empire. भारत के पास बहुत अच्छा मौका है ये नए युग के शहंशाह बनने के लिए. Why? Why do I sound so optimist? For two reasons. There are two great advantages for India. Number one, the vibrant young population of India. Demographically speaking, India is the youngest country in the world. And the second advantage for India is India's unique mind. In fact, India has been the repository of knowledge, wisdom and ideas ever since the time immemorial. My dear audience, even when most of the Western world were steeped in ignorance and poverty, जब यूरोप के बहुत सारे देश अज्ञान और गरीबी के अंधकार में डूबे हुए थे, at that time India gifted the world such noble ideas as Ishabasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagat tyang jagat tena tvaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kashva siddhanam. This single idea made in India can ensure material prosperity and moral excellence. What does it mean? Ishabasyam idam sarvam. All that we see, moving or unmoving, is divine. The world is divine. Live in this world. Enjoy this world. But before you enjoy this world, know the technique of enjoying this particular world. Such a beautiful idea. And referring to this idea, Christopher Isherwood, the American novelist, playwright and spiritual seeker, made a beautiful remark. He said, so much pride in us when we just have a look at this particular statement by Christopher Isherwood. He says, the Hindu religious philosophers of thousands of years ago were much more truly scientific in their outlook than most of us are today. And they drew no such crude dividing line between matter and spirit. And it is not without reason that Swami Vivekananda, proud Indian, but with an international outlook, he said, as I look back upon the history of my own country, I do not find in the whole world, another country which has done quite so much for the improvement of the human mind. जब यूरोपियों के पुरखे जर्मनी के घने जंगल में छिपे रहते थे और जंगली लोगों की तरह अपने शरीर को नीले रंग से रंगाते थे, at that time our ancestors, great Indian minds, they tried to find answer to what is today's most frequently asked questions. Where do we come from? Are we alone in this universe? What happens after death? So these are the questions our forefathers asked. No others could do that. And in fact, yet another wonderful Indian mind's example. It is this Indian mind, what is now considered probably the surest way to the solution of the problems related to religious harmony or different kind of conflicts. Our Indian mind discovered this particular great idea, ekang sat vipra bahudha badanti. Truth is one, but sages describe it in various ways. Again, it was our forefathers who realized and declared Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. No other country, no other civilization ever thought of the world as a global village, rather a family. But our forefathers did, our great Indian minds did. Our great Indian minds had this particular idea to discover. No wonder the Indian mind gave the world the idea of zero. And it was our Aryabhatta who anticipated Galileo, Copernicus and Kepler by centuries ago and with greater precision. And as has been admitted right now in modern world, that our Susruta is now considered the father of modern surgery. Nowadays, people talk so much about the need for preservation of natural heritage, flora and fauna, all these things. But centuries ago, about 5,000 years ago, India cautioned the world, remember, we will damage the world only at our peril. We will damage the world only at our peril. Why? There is the same self in human beings, animals, plants, trees. Yo deva yagno, yo apsu, yo vishwam bhuvanama vibesha, yo oshadhishu, yo banaspatisu, tasmai devaya namo namaha. Well, there could be the question, why should he look back for ideas? Why should he look back? There are two reasons. Swami Vivekananda, in fact, himself has given these reasons. First, out of the past that the future is best molded. Out of the past that the future is best molded, Swamiji is saying. And because of this, especially in case of India, naturally the future will be definitely more glorious. Secondly, that is also Swami Vivekananda's. If our forefathers could have so many ideas, so could the present generation. Swami Vivekananda reiterated in his several lectures from Colombo to Almora. But everything depends on the youth of India, whom Swami Vivekananda loved so much, on whom Swami Vivekananda pinned great hopes, whom Swami Vivekananda would always encourage, come up, O lions, and shake up the delusion that you are inferior to anyone or you are inferior to any country. That is Swami Vivekananda's call to the youth. Do you know how much power is lurking behind the frame of yours. You can do anything and everything. My dear audience, Swami Vivekananda has given us so many ideas for the youth to be truly empowered. He has given so many practical suggestions for the youth to manifest their hidden power. By that they can just, in fact, there is no better way. There is no better way than Swami Vivekananda's way for the youth to manifest the inherent capacities. In today's seminar, we have with us some great minds of the days. They will discuss the Vivekananda way, but before that, we would humbly request Srimad Swami Shubiranandaji Maharaj for his Benedictory Address that will certainly enrich all of us. Most General Secretary Maharaj, who certainly doesn't need introduction to this particular audience, is the General Secretary Maharaj of the internationally acclaimed the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, and it is a matter of great pride for those associated with Deoghar that he had been the Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith Deoghar for long 13 years and is considered by them their guardian angel. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now may we please request our revered Srimad Swami Suviranandaji Maharaj, General Secretary of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, to deliver the keynote address of this seminar.
Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satche Sukha Sarupayo Swamine Tapoharine. Very beloved Swami Jayantanandaji, the head of this great and prestigious institute, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith Deoghar. Very dear Swami Suparnanandaji, a man to be respected, the head of our Institute of Culture, Gold Park at Calcutta, and prior to his assignment as the head of Institute of Culture, Kolkata, he was the head of our mega residential complex in Kolkata, Ramakrishna Mission, Narendrapur. And then we have an outstanding Swami here, Swami Shantatmanandaji. Those who are associated with value education, and that too under the aegis of Central Board of Secondary Education, I am sure that you have heard about this Swami. Right now he is the head of our center at Delhi, and then of course he is moving to another center to be inaugurated very soon at Gurugram, Gurgaon, and naturally as the founder of the center, he is the natural choice for the post of the head in the center. But one thing I would like to impress upon you, that when you speak, when he speaks, you must listen to him. And if necessary, I would ask our boys, our teachers, to be in touch with him. May not be here today, but then you can be in touch with him otherwise also, and you should be. Santatmanandaji is doing a landmark work, educating mainly the teachers. He has trained lakhs and lakhs of teachers all over India, and this assignment has been given to him by Central Board of Secondary Education. As a matter of fact, if permitted, I would like to say that as far as Central Board of Secondary Education is concerned, this Swami is a cultural ambassador, the ambassador for values on behalf of the Central Board of Secondary Education all through the country today. And then we have other Swamis as well, very outstanding in their own right, like you have Swami Shastragananda, an outstanding scholar, and Swami Shastragananda is a specialist of Vivekananda, so to say, because his thesis was on Vivekananda. Naturally, he is an outstanding educationist, outstanding scholar, an outstanding orator, and a person who fits in the bill 100% as far as this particular evening is concerned, discussing Vivekananda way and the value education. Swami Shastragananda right now, as you have heard, is the head of our mega educational complex near Belur Math, Ramakrishna Mission, Vidyapith. It is under his leadership that our college there, Vidyamandir College, is the 9th best college of India and the 2nd best college of West Bengal. All credits go to this Swami, and I am absolutely sure that he will enthrall you. He will give you some intellectual input by which you can certainly chew the cud and go for at least a few years now. And then we have another outstanding Swami, and many of you may be not knowing that this Swami was born in Deoghar, Swami Shastraganandaji. His spiritual birth is here. You must have been hearing about Swami Sarvopriyananda. Swami Sarvopriyananda, as on date, is the best and the greatest exponent of Vedanta all over the world, drawing about more than 1 million of listeners. Sarvopriyananda is a very household name even in India today among the students of Vedanta. And it was Sarvopriyananda and the Swami Tattvaswarananda, Ramendra Maharaj we call him. You must have heard his name. He was in Deoghar. He started his monastic life in Deoghar, and then he is an outstanding Swami as far as this particular subject is concerned. And then, of course, we have two other people here. Our Torun Goswami. Torun Goswami is a devotee of Swami Vivekananda. Torun Goswami was the city editor of the Calcutta Statesman for a long time, and then of course now he is the editor of a daily in Kolkata, and he is a very prolific speaker, especially on Swami Vivekananda, and many organizations draft him for speaking on Vivekananda all through the country. Naturally, it's our proud privilege that he is here today to share his thoughts on this particular subject with all of us. And also we have another outstanding man who introduced the subject to you today, that is Shakti Prasad Mishra, the Nivedita Chair, Professor of Nivedita Chair in Institute of Culture, Gold Park. And Shakti Babu dedicated his entire life for the value education in particular and education in general in our sister institution, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Purulia. So I am very proud, I am very happy today that such a conglomeration of people who really matter in the field of values and its researches are here today to share their thoughts with the audience. And naturally, audience consists of our people, our boys, our teachers, our faculty members, and then the faculty members, the teachers, the parents, the guardians, the citizens of Deoghar, along with the boys and girls studying in Deoghar schools and colleges. So it's a very, very joyous occasion for all of us. And now your Secretary Maharaj, I was speaking to him this morning, right a few minutes back, that, well, he has asked me to give a benedictory address. But as far as the scheme of things today stand, I don't think that there is any space for benedictory address. And I doubt whether I really I'm a person to fit in the bill. And that's why I thought that I will speak a few words. The crux of the question will be answered, obviously, goes without mention, these people sitting on the dais. I will only touch about a few points that, I feel should be shared with you today, taking the advantage of this program. Now, you see, Swamiji Maharaj, he has told one thing. Education is the panacea of all social evils. And then Swamiji goes on to say about the British education, the education that we got before independence, and the education that we have inherited as a legacy after independence. He is very caustic about it, very categorical, and very, 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 very clear about his vision about the education that we inherited from the Britishers. Swamiji says that the education that we give to our children, what we get from that education. The education teaches today's education. In the word of Swamiji, that means education that we inherited from the Britishers. It teaches, the first lesson that he gives to the children is, well, his father is a fool. The second lesson it gives to the children is, his grandfather was a lunatic. Third lesson that it gives is, all his teachers are hypocrites. And the fourth lesson that it gives is, well, the fourth lesson is, all the sacred books are lies, bundle of lies. वो कहते हैं, जो जब हमारे बच्चे शिक्षा के लिए विद्यालय में आते हैं, तो जो शिक्षा उनको प्राप्ति होता है, वो शिक्षा क्या है? उसको यही सीख मिलते, वही सीख मिलती जो आपके पिता जो है ये मूर्ख है, आपके नाना जो है, दादा जो है, वो है दिमाग में अपंग, आपके जो शिक्षक है वो सारे भंड है, जो कहते हैं वो करते नहीं, जो करते हैं वो कहते नहीं। और जो धर्म ग्रंथ है, स्क्रिप्चर है, वो स्क्रिप्चर्स भी सारे झूठ है, सरासर झूठ है। यही स्वामी विवेकानंद बोल रहा है, जो दैट इज द एजुकेशन वी इनहेरिटेड फ्रॉम स्वामी जी महाराज। मेरा याद है 2000 साल में मैंने बॉम्बे में गया था, वहाँ में एक ऐसा ही वैल्यू एजुकेशन मूल्यबोध का सेमिनार हुई थी। उसमें मुझको वो इनॉगरेट करने के लिए कहा गया था। तो मुंबई का सारे स्कूल कॉलेज का 400 प्रिंसिपल्स थे वहाँ पे। और उसके बाद जो चीफ गेस्ट थी, वो चीफ गेस्ट आप लोग जानते हैं, जो बॉम्बे में एशिया कॉन्टिनेंट का एक लता वीमेंस यूनिवर्सिटी है, एसएनडीटी यूनिवर्सिटी। अभी तो वीमेंस यूनिवर्सिटी दूसरे जगह पर हुआ, लेकिन उस टाइम में एक लता यूनिवर्सिटी थी। तो उनका वाइस चांसलर मुझको बोला, जो आयरन एंड एनजीओ स्वामी जी, and can you come to my NGO in the evening if you are free? I readily agreed. And then I was taken to the slum area of Mumbai, and it sounds like a fiction, but it is a hard reality. I was a personal witness to this experience. I was taken to a school. मुझको लेकर गया था एक स्लम में, एक नाइट स्कूल में. वहाँ में बच्चे सब आए, क्लास 1 से 5 तक. और मैडम जो टीचर है वो पढ़ाती, वहाँ में वो बोल रही हैं. क्या बोल रही हैं? शेपर्ड बॉय. आप लोग सब सुने हैं शेपर्ड बॉय का कहानी. शेपर्ड बॉय का कहानी आप लोग सब सुने आए होंगे. शेपर्ड बॉय का कहानी है जो एक लड़का वो शेपर्ड है. वो लड़का हर एक दिन में मजाक करने के लिए कहता है कि बाघ आया, शेर आ गया. और सारे गांव के आदमी जाते हैं उनको बचाने के लिए और देखते हैं जो मजाक करते हैं. तो पहला दिन भी मजाक किया, दूसरे दिन भी मजाक किया. तो तीसरे दिन जो है वो तीसरे दिन सचमुच शेर आया था और वो चिल्लाया. तो सारे जो है नेबर्स, ये लोग सोचा जो ये तो मजाक कर रहा है रोज, तो हम लोग नहीं जाएंगे. तो कोई नहीं गया. शेर भी उसको खा लिया, मार दिया, खा लिया. तो उसके बाद मैम जो है जो पढ़ाती थी वो बोल रहा है जो बच्चों इससे आपको क्या सीख मिली? आपने क्या सीख मिला? आपको क्या सीखा आपने? हाथ तुलो. बहुत लड़का हाथ हुआ और हाथ तुलने के बाद when they raised their hands, फर्स्ट रो में जो बैठा था एक लड़का को पूछा मैम ने जो अच्छा बच्चों आपने क्या सीख लिया इससे? बोला मैम हम इससे यही सीख लिया जो हमेशा झूठ बोलना पड़ेगा. जी जितना दिन झूठ बोलोगे तो आदमी मदद करने के लिए आएंगे. जिस दिन आप सच बोलोगे उस दिन से आदमी आना बंद हो जाएगा. तो अभी यही हाल है हमारे शिक्षा का. तो नेचुरली स्वाभाविक है जो आज सारे देश, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी और जो एडुकेशनिस्ट है, सब लोग यही बात सोचते हैं जो कैसे शिक्षा को ठीक रेल पर ले आना जाए. इसीलिए हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी एक बहुत सुंदर बात बोला कुछ दिन पहले. आत्मनिर्भर भारत एक तो बहुत मशहूर किताब है. आपका देवघर में भी होगा, बिहार में भी होगा, दिल्ली में तो है ही है. वो आत्मनिर्भर भारत का फॉरवर्ड में मैसेज में, फॉरवर्ड भी नहीं मैसेज दिया प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी. उसमें उन्होंने कहा रहा है, I am quoting him, I am sure that the publication will draw inspiration from Swami Vivekananda's vision of a strong India and faith in the unending energy of the youth. And faith in the unending energy of the youth. वही बात है जो हमको 3C का जरूरत है. 3C क्या है? कंसंट्रेशन है. 3C क्या है? 3C तुम्हारा कॉन्फिडेंस, कंसंट्रेशन और कन्विक्शन. ये तीनों चीज अगर हो गया तो वैल्यू एजुकेशन तुम इम्बाइब कर लिया. कल भी मैंने बोला था जो द वर्ल्ड इज ट्रू विथ आइडियाज. आप एक दो आइडिया को पकड़ो, इसको तुम्हारा लाइफ एंड ब्लड बनाओ, इसके लिए तुम जियो, इसके लिए तुम मरो. यू बिलीव इन दिस एंड दैट विल मेक यू मोर लर्नेड देन द मोस्ट लर्नेड मैन. दैट विल मेक यू ग्रेटर देन द ग्रेटेस्ट मैन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. You must not profess anything without practicing. एक हमारे वो जो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स टूथ, महात्मा गांधी का बहुत मशहूर किताब, उसमें एक तो कहानी मिलता है, बहुत सुंदर कहानी, जो एक माँ का जो एक लता बेटा बहुत चीनी खाते हैं, तो माँ की क्या हुआ, मन में ये आया कि चीनी अगर इतना खाएगा तो बीमार हो जाएगा, तो किसी से बात नहीं सुनता, किसी को बात भी नहीं सुनता। उसी बाद उनके ऐसा महसूस हुआ, जब बापूजी को बहुत मनता है, बापूजी अगर बोलते हैं तो मेरा बेटा जरूर चीनी खाना बंद कर देगा। तो बापूजी के पास गया और बापूजी सब सुना और बोला, बेटी तुम 15 रोज बाद में मेरे पास आओ। तो वे जो माँ बेटा को लेकर फिर हाथ पकड़ के वापस चला गया। और इसके बाद 15 रोज बाद में फिर गया बापूजी के पास। बाबूजी वो बच्चा को बुलाया और बोलो, देखो बेटा, ज़्यादा चीनी खाने से तुम्हारा बीमार होगी, चीनी खाना बंद कर दो। और साथ ही साथ वो लड़का जो है वो बोला, ठीक है बापूजी, वो मान लिया। तो वो जो उनके वो लड़का का जो माँ है वो बापूजी को पूछ रहा है, जो बापूजी मैं बहुत आभार हूँ आपके प्रति, आपके कारण मेरा बेटा इम्पेंडिंग डिजास्टर जो है उससे बच गया, नहीं तो बहुत कुछ हो सकता था। लेकिन मेरी एक बात है, एक सवाल है, बोलो पूछो बेटी। तो बापूजी को पूछा, जो ये बात तो 15 रोज पहले भी मुझको अगर बताते तो मेरा बेटा सुन लेता, क्योंकि मैं जानता हूं जो मेरा बेटा को भी ना नहीं बोलेगा, आप जो कुछ भी बोलेंगे, यू आर द मैन फॉर हुम ही डिजर्व द हाईएस्ट रिगार्ड इन हिज हार्ट, कभी नहीं करेंगे। तो 15 रोज पहले क्यों नहीं बोला आपने? तो बापूजी बोला, जो देखो बेटी, हमने जब आया था, तुमने जब आया था मेरा पास, उस टाइम में मैं खुद बहुत चीनी खाता था, तो मेरा कोई अथॉरिटी नहीं था, मोरल अथॉरिटी नहीं थी आपको ना बोलने के लिए। लेकिन इसके बाद 15 रोज में हम चीनी खाने का आदत पूरा छोड़ दिया। अभी मेरा मोरल अथॉरिटी आया, इसीलिए बुलाया, और आपको बेटा कोई एक बात बोला तो मान लिया। ये बहुत बड़ा बात है, मोरल अथॉरिटी। Don't preach anything what you don't profess anything, don't preach anything what you do not practice. That is perhaps the cornerstone of moral education or the value education. And that is the worst casualty that our education is facing even today. And then the kind of value education that we had, say even 40 years back, that value education, that approach is no more there. Neither the framework, nor the approach, neither the philosophy, nor the implementation is still in vogue. As our country is progressing, our country is passing through a very critical stage of change. एक आदमी वो एक कारपेट खरीद कर लिया, तो कारपेट को बैठक खाना में ड्राइंग रूम में रखा है, वो वैक्यूम क्लीनर से वो सफा करता है, और सफा करने के बाद वो सोचते हैं गॉड इज इन हेवन एंड एवरीथिंग इज राइट विद द वर्ल्ड। तो 10 रोज बाद में एक रविवार को देववार को उनको मन में आया कि 10 साल पहले मैंने एक कारपेट खरीद किया और कारपेट को हमने ड्राइंग रूम में रख दिया, लेकिन कभी नहीं देखा व्हाट इज हैपनिंग बिलो द कारपेट। लेट मी टेक इट आउट एंड सी व्हाट इट इज देयर। तो कारपेट के जब लेयर, तब देखा जो लेयर ऑफ डस्ट हैज एक्यूमुलेटेड। तो क्या करेंगे? आप होने से क्या करते थे? आप होने से भी वही करते थे जो वो लोग किया, वो उसको साफ सुथरा किया, कारपेट को अलग करके रखा। तो जब साफ सुथरा करने लगा, उसी टाइम में एनार्किकल कंडीशन, स्मोकी कंडीशन, लगता है सब कुछ बर्बाद हो गया। कारपेट को उखाड़ लेने के बाद पहले जो हाल था इतना अच्छा हाल था, अभी सारे स्मोकी एटमॉस्फेयर, एनार्किकल एटमॉस्फेयर, एज इफ एवरीथिंग इज लॉस्ट। हम गलती किया, लेकिन बाद में देखा गया जब पूरा वो हो गया, साफ सुथरा हो गया, स्मोक वगैरह चला गया, फिर कारपेट को रखा, तब बहुत आनंद आया। हमारे देश ब्रिटिश का शासन था, हमारे देश में मुगल था, हमारे देश में मुस्लिम थे, और ये जो हजारों साल का हम जो दास थे, स्लेव थे, इसके कारण हमारे पूरा शक्ति खो गया था। We became spineless slaves of our masters. हम सोचे कि यही साचा है, इसका परिवर्तन नहीं हो सकता है, और इसीलिए हमने हमेशा स्टेटस को पसंद किया। स्थितावस्था जो है अभी उसको रहने दो। स्वतंत्रता का बाद, आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ मॉडर्न इंडिया जो साफ सुथरा करने के लिए एक प्रयास चल रहा है, एक तारीखी चल रहा है, और वो जो तारीखी चल रहा है, इसीलिए आप देखेंगे कुछ एबरेशन है, कुछ एबरेशन जरूर है। कुछ दिन पहले मैं कलकत्ता में एक विश्वविद्यालय, कलकत्ता विश्वविद्यालय नहीं, दूसरे विश्वविद्यालय में जा रहा था। तो जब जा रहे थे, और विश्वविद्यालय में जाने के लिए एक बाइलेन जरूर था, बाइलेन को पकड़ना पड़ेगा। तो बाइलेन पकड़ के हम जब जा रहा था, देखा एक दल लड़के, वो कान में दूल्हा है और क्लस्टर में खाने हैं, चुपचाप खड़े हैं बेचारा, कुछ बात कुछ नहीं बोलते। और गाड़ी जब आगे में गया तो उसी टाइम में हमने देखा जो लड़कियां हैं पैंट पहन के, और दे आर स्मोकिंग, दे आर गिगलिंग, दे आर क्रैकिंग जोक्स एट ईच अदर। तो हमारे ड्राइवर, झारखंड का ड्राइवर, झारखंड का आदमी है, झारखंड का रहने वाले हैं, वो हमको बोला जो महाराज आपको क्या परेशानी हो रहा है? हमने नहीं, परेशानी नहीं हो रहा है, परेशानी का बात भी नहीं है। बोले नहीं परेशानी मत कीजिए, पहले जमाना में लड़के जो करते थे वो आजकल लड़कियां करती हैं, और लड़कियां जो करती थी वो आजकल लड़के करते हैं। जमाना बदल गया। तो ये जो जमाना बदल गया, इसके लिए आज एक ट्रेमर चल रहा है। हम लोग शोषण किया, शासन किया, हम लोग इन लोगों के साथ जस्टिस नहीं किया, और इसीलिए अभी पहले बार जब मंथन हो रहा है, और मंथन का प्रक्रिया में लगता है सारे खराब हो गया, हिंदुस्तान खराब हो गया, लड़के खराब हो गया, लड़कियां खराब हो गया, समाज खराब हो गया, सारे बुरे हो गया। नहीं, ये विवेकानंद का भारत है। स्वामी जी महाराज कहाँ हैं? इंडिया इज द फोकल पॉइंट नाउ। और स्वामी जी महाराज ये भी बोला, इंडिया विल राइज बट वन कंडीशन, एक शर्त है। वो शर्त क्या शर्त है? वो शर्त है इट मस्ट सीट एट द फीट ऑफ श्री रामकृष्ण। श्री रामकृष्ण का जो इंक्लूसिवनेस, वो इंक्लूसिवनेस रहना चाहिए। अगर हम इंक्लूसिवनेस को नहीं अपनाएंगे, इंक्लूसिवनेस को हम नहीं अपनाते हैं, तो कभी ये हिंदुस्तान ऊपर में नहीं उठेगा। इसीलिए नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने कहा है जो भी करो, इट मस्ट बी इन द विवेकानंद वे, एंड एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ यूथ एंड विवेकानंद वे, दिस टू nomenclatures go hand in hand, very palatable and in perfect resonance with each other. तो इसलिए आज बहुत खुश हो रहा है, हर्ष हो रहा है, आनंद हो रहा है। ये जो विभूतियाँ यहाँ पे स्टेज पे है, ये सारे विभूतियाँ ये बोलेंगे, उनका जो दर्शन है, उनका जो चिंतन है, उसका मंथन होगी, और हम लोग जो है इसको एंजॉय करेंगे, उपभोग करेंगे, और इससे सीख लेंगे। तो जब ये आलोचना होगी, तो वो आलोचना मेरा आशा है जो लोग आलोचना करेंगे, वो लोग जरूर कुछ पॉइंट में, कुछ नींव में एम्फासिस देंगे, जोर देंगे। वो नींव क्या है? जे वो नींव है जो आज के हिंदुस्तान में खड़ा होकर हम समझते हैं, जो हम लोग समझना पड़ेगा यूथ एम्पावरमेंट के बारे में, एक्टिंग एज ए रिपोजिटरी ऑफ डिजिटल न्यू एज स्किल्स. That is a very, very important area which I must touch upon and we must look into. Number 2, rising opportunities for new job creation and entrepreneurship. Rising opportunities for new job creation and entrepreneurship. ये भी देखना पड़ेगा. Creating a new category of consumer class. 4, fascinating new investment opportunities. And 5th, creating inclusiveness and cultural diversity. That is, given the rapid urbanization and employment opportunities, young people from rural areas often move to urban conglomerates. This culturally diverse population will bring various language skills, shared languages, new ways of thinking, innovative ideas and creative solutions to the problems, creating a more productive workforce. और दूसरे एक पॉइंट, जो आखिरी पॉइंट मेरे लिए, वो है जो स्वामी जी ने बार बार कहा है, जो देखो, आई होल्ड हिम ए ट्रेटर. बहुत कठिन शब्द स्वामी जी, कठिन लफ्ज स्वामी जी अपनाया, व्यवहार किया. आई होल्ड हिम ए ट्रेटर, मैं उसको गद्दार समझता हूं. कौन? Who at the expense of the poor gets educated and doesn't pay least heed to the poor. जो ये सरकार का पैसा से पढ़ते हैं, सरकार का पैसा मतलब ये जो आदमी हैं जो रिक्शा चलाते हैं, टोटो चलाते हैं, चाहे ऑटो चलाते हैं, मछली बिकते हैं और उसमें चाष करते हैं खेत में, खमार में, यही लोग के बारे में स्वामी जी ने कहा. जो देखो, ये लोग इनकम टैक्स देता है. आजकल तो भाई बड़े आदमी इनकम टैक्स बहुत कम देते हैं, सुना है हम. वो तो साधारण जो आदमी, आम जनता है, वही इनकम टैक्स देते हैं. और ये इनकम टैक्स से आपको एजुकेशन होती. मान लीजिए जो झारखंड में एक लड़का जो झारखंड बीआईटी में पढ़ते हैं, चाहे वो देवघर हो या रांची हो, कितना पैसा सरकार खर्चा करते हैं. और वो सारे पैसा तो मुख्यमंत्री का जेब से नहीं आता. वो पैसा कोई ऐसे जो आधिकारिक लोग हैं, ये लोग नहीं देते. वही पैसा देते हैं वही लोग. Those tears have never been accounted. They have always wept behind the screen and they have wept silently and people have never bothered about them. इसीलिए स्वामी जी ने कहा है, जो तुम्हारा माँ पिता का कंट्रीब्यूशन जरूर है, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ वो जो आदमी रिक्शा चलाते हैं, वो जो आदमी धान के चाष कर रहा है, वो जो आदमी भुने वाला है, वो सारे आदमी का कंट्रीब्यूशन से ही तुम पढ़ रहे हो, तुम बड़ा इंजीनियर बने हो, तुम बड़ा मल्टीनेशनल में बहुत अच्छा नौकरी करते हो, बहुत पैसा भी कमाते हो. बट यू नेवर बदर फॉर दोज पीपल. स्वामी जी ने कहा अगर ऐसा हो तो मोरल एजुकेशन का जो भीत है, द फाउंडेशन ऑफ मोरल एजुकेशन, द फाउंडेशन ऑफ वैल्यू सिस्टम हैज क्रम्बल्ड डाउन. You have never bothered to address the very basic structure of value education, which is why Swami ji बोला, I hold them a traitor. मैं समझता हूँ, मैं सोचता हूँ, मैं कहता हूँ, वो गद्दार है, गद्दार. ये दो शब्द के शब्द के साथ मैं मेरा जो भाषण समाप्त करता हूँ. और आप लोगों ने मेरा टूटा फूटा हिंदी इतना टाइम धीरज लेकर सुने, इसीलिए आभार प्रकट करता हूँ आप लोगों से, आप सब लोगों से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ. और मैं फिर एक बार आभार प्रकट करता हूँ हमारे जो बहुत लर्नेड पैनल यहाँ पे है, ये लोग अपना अपना काम करते हैं, बहुत दायित्वशील, बहुत रिस्पॉन्सिबल काम करते हैं, सारे देश में घूमते हैं. फिर भी हमारे विद्यापीठ का आह्वान से ये लोग आए और आप लोगों को जरूर ये लोग एनरिच करेंगे, समृद्ध करेंगे अपना भावना से, अपना दृष्टिकोण से। और इन लोगों को प्रति भी मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ इसलिए जो मैं भी को विद्यापीठ परिवार का एक सदस्य था। अभी भी मैं समझता हूँ जो मैं विद्यापीठ परिवार का एक सदस्य हूँ। करीब 10 साल मैंने यहाँ में बिताया और बहुत अच्छा टाइम बिताया। इसीलिए मैं जब भी देवघर में आता हूँ तो मैं खुद को गेस्ट नहीं समझता हूँ, मैं हमेशा होस्ट समझता हूँ। और इसी दृष्टिकोण लेकर हमने इनको आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। और फिर एक बार मैं बोलूँगा जो देखो मेरा पास आई रिस्पेक्ट all the institutions of Ramakrishna Mission in India and outside India, but I love one institution, and that is Deoghar Vidyapith. And I am absolutely sure today's deliberations will certainly enrich you, and you must reap the harvest in its fullest. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for blessing us with your words. And now we shall move on with our program even further. And next in line is an opening song, Shaurya De, Virya De, to be performed by Shri Chandan Chatterjee, ex-faculty member, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar. And accompanying him on tabla will be Shri Hori Shankar Burman, faculty member, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar. On maracas, Bishamay Chakraborty, faculty member, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar. And on kartal, Binay Kumar Jha, faculty member, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar.
Hello, Chief. Hello, Chief. आज के शुभ दिन पर हम तमाम कलाकारों की तरफ से यहाँ पर उपस्थित जितने मॉन्क्स हैं, पहले उनको प्रणाम करते हैं और उसके बाद जितने लोग आगंतुक हैं आप लोगों का अभिवादन करते हैं। त्याग में मति दे, सेवा में प्रीति दे, त्याग में मति दे, सेवा में प्रीति दे, स्वार्थ द्वंद भेद बुद्धि चिर से पोछ दे, स्वार्थ द्वंद भेद बुद्धि चिर से पोछ दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे। नवयुग के नवीन तंत्र में वीक्षित करो मिलन मंत्र में, नवयुग के नवीन तंत्र में वीक्षित करो मिलन मंत्र में, सार्थक करो जीवन हमारा, सार्थक करो जीवन हमारा, चरण शरण दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे, शौर्य दे, वीर्य दे, शौर्य दे, वीर्य दे, नवीन जीवन दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे, परा परा विद्या दे, दिव्य चेतन दे। नमस्कार, सबको प्रणाम।
The symphony of Shaurya and Virya shall now make way for us to instill in our hearts feelings of Swadesh or Swadesh Bhav, as next we have the recitation of Swadesh Mantra by Shri Raj Roshan, faculty member of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith, Deoghar. And as it has been mentioned earlier, the Swadesh Mantra has been circulated all around the area among the audience. So we request you to repeat the Swadesh Mantra with Sri Raj Roshan sir as we now get ready for the Swadesh Mantra.
स्वदेश मंत्र। हे भारत, आप सब रिपीट करेंगे मेरे पीछे। हे भारत, तुम मत भूलना कि तुम्हारी स्त्रियों का आदर्श सीता, सावित्री, दमयंती है। मत भूलना कि तुम्हारे उपास्य सर्वत्यागी उमानाथ शंकर हैं। मत भूलना कि तुम्हारा विवाह धन और जीवन, इंद्रिय सुख के लिए, अपने व्यक्तिगत सुख के लिए नहीं हैं। मत भूलना कि तुम जन्म से ही माता के लिए बलि स्वरूप रखे गए हो। तुम मत भूलना कि तुम्हारा समाज उस विराट महामाया की छाया मात्र है। मत भूलना कि नीच, अज्ञानी, दरिद्र, चमार और मेहतर तुम्हारे रक्त हैं, तुम्हारे भाई हैं। हे वीर, साहस का आश्रय लो। गर्व से कहो कि मैं भारतवासी हूं और प्रत्येक भारतवासी मेरा भाई है। कहो कि अज्ञानी भारतवासी, दरिद्र भारतवासी, ब्राह्मण भारतवासी, चंडाल भारतवासी सब मेरे भाई हैं। तुम भी केवल कमर में ही कपड़ा लपेट गर्व से पुकार कर कहो कि भारतवासी मेरा भाई है, भारतवासी मेरे प्राण हैं, भारत के देव देवियां मेरे ईश्वर हैं, भारत का समाज मेरे बचपन का झूला, जवानी की फुलवारी और मेरे बुढ़ापे की काशी है। भाई, बोलो कि भारत की मिट्टी मेरा स्वर्ग है। भारत के कल्याण में मेरा कल्याण है। और रात दिन कहते रहो, हे गौरीनाथ, हे जगदम्बे, मुझे मनुष्यत्व दो। मां, मेरी दुर्बलता और कापुरुषता दूर कर दो। मां, मुझे मनुष्य बना दो। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Absolutely electrifying. Now, thank you so much, sir. Now, I would request Shri Shakti Prasad Mishra, sir, to moderate the seminar from here onwards.
My dear audience, as has been rightly pointed out by most revered Srimad Swami Shubhiranandaji Maharaj, that we became spineless. We the Indians, including the Indian youth, became spineless because of subjugation under foreign power for a pretty long time, and we forgot what we are capable of. But now is the time for us to arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. But who could guide us? Who could show the way? Who else but Swami Vivekananda? We request Srimad Swami Shuparnanandaji Maharaj, presently the Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gol Park, and previously the student, the teacher of economics of Narendrapur College, and then as a monastic member he became the vice principal, and was the secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Narendrapur. He would just let us know why Vivekananda, revered Maharaj. Incidentally, for each of the speakers, 20 minutes.
Om Jananing Sharadang Deving Ramakrishnang Jagatgurum Pada Padmitayo Sritva Pranamami Muhur Muhu. Revered Srimad Swami Subhidanandaji, General Secretary, and other respected monks on the dais as speakers, and Sri Torun Goswami on the dais as speaker. He is the resident editor, Millennium Post, ex-city editor, The Statesman. The respected Swamijis, the devotees, the mothers, guests, and my dear students, both boys and girls, boys from Vidyapith and boys and girls from the adjoining Vidyalayas. This session is meant for the students, the youths, and I will speak only to the students because I know them very well. Their aspirations, their difficulties, and the possible ways that they can follow to come out of the present impasse. I sincerely tell you, brothers and sisters, that I love you. I love you because you are very simple. Simplicity incarnate and not being affected by the crookedness of worldliness. That's why I love you. And Swamiji also loves you because of that. I love you because you are naughty. You are naughty and never wicked anyway. We won't say that you are wicked. You are naughty, being imbued by the spirit of childish pranks. You might have committed some mistakes here and there, but we the seniors must have the courage to deal with you with love and care. We are, in a sense, weak when we fail to do our jobs to get you back to the right track for greater fulfillment. That is the second reason for which I love you and probably Swamiji also. And the third reason I love you because you are pure potentials. It is something different from we are all potentially divine. We are all potentially divine as suggested by or spoken by Swamiji. But you, my dear students, you have to find out the basic difference between you, the pure potentials, and all other else, the potentially divine. Potentially divine may be a dacoit, may be wicked, may be a murderer, but you are pure, pure potential, mind that. And fourthly, I love you because you buy, you create, I won't say create, you buy a very precious, very better tomorrows from every good today. Do you follow it? From every good today, you buy. When you say buy, you have to put in all your efforts. You buy a better tomorrow. That's why I love you. I know that you are growing. You do not stand and say, suffer. You stand, not in a place. You move, Chaurayaveti. And fifth reason I love you, that you are sufficient to yourselves. Nobody else can claim that they are sufficient to themselves. But you are sufficient to yourselves. You may be necessary to others, but you do not have to depend on anybody else. That much potential you have, that much sufficiency you have. Your principal is a student of statistics and mathematics. He knows very well the distinction between sufficiency and necessity condition. Ask him to explain that more. And the sixth reason I love you, because you are lovable. Swamiji loves you because you have enough future to exploit. And he loves you because within your little bodies is a great mind. Great mind, the repository of all power. Apparently, of course, ultimate source of all power is not mind, but for the sake of your help, for the sake of your benefit, you accept that mind is a repository of all power. You have known it. Your physical body has some basic differences, basic weaknesses. Mind is all powerful, we say. And within little minds, you have greater intellect. Your intellect is tarnished by your association with the physical world, mixed up with good and bad. That intellect is the best which can distinguish between the bad and the good. So Swamiji says, you teach the boys and girls to develop this intellect, enlightened intellect. Buddhi yoga. Buddhi must not confuse between the good and bad. And once you have decided that this is good and others are bad, you have to keep your mind in what is good, and that way you live. That way, not only you become good, you will disseminate goodness elsewhere. You know that 95% of people are honest. Only 5% bad people are controlling the 95% good people. It is because we do not have this enlightened buddhi. Buddhi yoga is not with us. And within individual intellect is all-powerful Atman. How do you know that? You are conscious of your body when you are in the waking state. Waking state means Jagrat Avastha. When somebody speaks ill of you, you then and there react. When somebody hurts you, you feel its pain. But this is not so when you go to sleep and dream. In dream, you come out of your physical body. You can isolate your mind from your body in dream. Doors and windows are shut from within. But you, in dream, move around and enjoy a world you have created in mind. And mind that whatever you dream, whatever you see in dream is true in dream state. But they prove to be wrong when you get up from sleep. So in dream, you see everything true. In the waking state, you see everything true that you see with physical eyes. So you use your mental eyes when you dream. The distinction is very, very important, Swamiji says. And sometimes you feel those who are very much body conscious, they feel that apart from body, there is nothing else. They are the materialists, Jadavadi. Materialism does not mean handling matter. It means sacrificing man for matter. Remember this definition. You have no right to sacrifice your man, the man in you, the total man, man with body, man with mind, man with intellect, and man with soul or Atman or consciousness. I will come to that. But body is not you. You have a body, you are not a body. What is the proof? In dreams, sometimes among so many dreams, you see your own body lying almost dead on the bedstead. Your body is lying dead on the bedstead. What does it mean? You see your own body. At least in dream, you see that you have a body, you are not a body. Remember this. This is the best of all dreams, to see your own body lying there. That is very, very important. And when you cannot enter into your body, when your mind cannot enter into your body, so long dreaming so many things, you are declared dead, mind that. But you re-enter it, and that's why you remain alive. And beyond dream state is the state of deep sleep. And in deep sleep, our mind is absent. Feeling faculty is absent. That's why we do not see anything. We do not feel anything. But I am not dead. We are not dead. We are one with our Atman, self, spirit. From that comes spirituality. Now, what is the essence that Swamiji has given us? This is the essence that you, as body, different. You are different from others. We are all different bodies present here. But as mind, which we feel in dream, we are closer to our reality. So dream state is true, is closer to truth. Whatever you see in dream must be true, must be, I should say, truer towards reality. And in deep sleep, we are all one. There is no distinction between man and woman, between a sadhu and a householder, between a rich person and a poor person, between the sinner and the saint. Mind that. All one. Consciousness is one. So we are that consciousness. And our previous speakers, they all stress this point, that all power is in you. So uniqueness of I or uniqueness of you. When I address you as you are all in you. When I address you to myself, you say that, Maharaj, you are one. You are all. You are in all in you, all in me. So I am everywhere. I am in all in me. So hum. And you are in all you. And all you are in you. Tat Tamusi. Or thou art that. From two standpoints. The addresser and the addressing. That way you have to take it. That has been clearly stated, brothers and sisters, that in deep sleep state, we are one with our real nature. The nature, the thing in itself, we have to know the thing in itself. When we love, the man we love is different from me. I love the man who is not me. He is different from me. আমি যাকে ভালোবাসি সে আমার থেকে আলাদা। अलग है. But what I know is I. I know you, the very nature of you. You means you can stand independent of everything else, and that is feasible only in deep sleep state. Mind that. That's why Swamiji says all power is in Atman, not even in mind, because mind depends on intellect, intellect depends on spirit or Atman. So that is it. But there is a little bit of mathematics here. I tell you friends, you know I, singular, its plural form is we. But as bodies only, even as bodies, it is impossible to construe the plural form of I. Ami eka. When I would be we, another I. Can you think of another me? Can I split myself into another Supernananda? Exactly. So in grammar you have I singular, we plural. But in essence, in pure mathematics, if you judge everything, screen everything reasonably, you will find never. Even 10 crore, even 100 crores of I would not produce we. I alone exists. This is my uniqueness. That's why Swamiji says that we are one. And what great philosophy that Swamiji deduced from that. If you are one, if we are one, then why do you say that you are suffering? Why not? While you are suffering, I am suffering because I have equated, I have identified myself, I have had that knowledge that you and I are one, basically one. So Swamiji has spelled out very living philosophy. What is that? Sacrifice others, serve others. Feel others' pains as your own pain, others' happiness as your own happiness. In your locality, there are people who are suffering from hunger. They are suffering from so many diseases, not being able to see doctors. There are people who are otherwise intelligent, boys and girls, your age. They are otherwise intelligent, but they do not find any opportunity to go to school. Why don't you feel for them? Why don't you, brothers and sisters, persuade your parents to help them to get rid of this malady? This is the question that every thinking boy and girl must feel. So the solution is in this service and sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. You have to cease to be what? Selfish. You have no right to be selfish. You have to be unselfish. Even it means to go to the extreme, that even in becoming unselfish, you can hug death. That is even suggested. That is it. So Swamiji says, channelize the whole humanity, channelize humanity towards these twin goals, service and sacrifice. For that he established Ramakrishna Mission. And we people wearing this Gerua robe, Gerua akar, we preach this philosophy. We have called upon you, brothers and sisters, to have the feel what Swamiji did have for you. Don't dishearten him. He has been present in all of us. Spirit, Swamiji's spirit cannot rest in peace unless and until everybody finds liberation. And that way, you come out of your little cage called your bodies. Try to feel your destiny, that you are born to do great, born to be great as Atman in you. You have to bring it out. That way you have to get out of your limitedness. You will be unlimited. That is the bondage. And Swami Vivekananda, mind that, Swami Vivekananda, if he is to be anything, he is to be the breaker of bondage. He is nothing. He should be glorified as the breaker of bondage. So your littleness must go, your selfishness must go. You have to be unselfish. You have to help others. Prepare yourself for that. And I tell you, I can introduce to you another interesting episode that I just met over here. Last night, while I was waiting for a little talk with Shekhar Sen, one quite big boy, I should say big boy, he from behind got hold of my leg. I know what you are doing. Well, I am trying to make pranams to you, Maharaj. Why? And he said, you are the principal of my principal. Yes, your principal is was my students once at Narendrapur. Not only that, I was also the vice principal of your secretary, Maharaj. And I joined the Ramakrishna Mission at Narendrapur as a student, Narendrapur College as a student. And I have been noticing that from every batch, some students are eager to hug this life. This life, I tell you, the open call on behalf of the Secretary Maharaj, General Secretary Maharaj, that you get prepared. From this center also, I know, so many of our past brothers have emulated this glorified life of sacred vow, to give up life for others. In that way, we have to break our bondage, mind that. You too, coming from adjoining schools, you have to learn it, that this is not the task of a few sannyasis. Even the girl students, sisters, they can have a spiritual life like us. For them, there is Sarada Math. I request the guardians, the mothers, to tell them that it is not enough to be equipped with proper qualifications for having a good job, getting a married life, begetting few children, so bringing them up and just finish their life. No, for that you have not been born. The same thing I tell to you, the brothers, from every school present over here. So with these few observations, I take leave of you, hoping that you will always listen to what Swamiji has spoken to us and what Swamiji, especially Swamiji Swadesh Mantra, spelled out. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
our grateful thanks to revered Maharaj Ji. My dear boys and students, you have marked it. He has just told one particular thing and he reiterated it, that it was Swami Vivekananda, none more than Swami Vivekananda, who availed the glory of the youth, but not the youth of the body, but the eternal youth of the Atman, capable of doing anything and everything. Pranam Maharaj for brilliantly pointing it out. While listening to you, just I remember one particular incident I feel like sharing with the boys and girls. Swami Medhashanandaji Maharaj, he is the head of Ramakrishna Mission Center in Japan. From Tokyo to Delhi he came, and then he was supposed to take a flight to Kolkata. In the domestic terminal, he approached one young official. He was very vivacious, very cheerful. He asked, the moment that official saw the Swami, he said, "Namaste Swamiji, what can I do for you?" Swamiji was greatly impressed by his demeanor, by his behavior, and then the job was done. And Swami Medhasanandaji Maharaj, the head of our center in Japan, just asked him, "आप स्वामी जी को जानते हो? स्वामी विवेकानंद को जानते हो?" "कौन नहीं जानता स्वामी जी, केवल 16 रुपए मेरा एक जीवन बदल दिया." He happened to buy a book by Swamiji costing only 16 rupees, and that changed the course of life of that young person. कौन नहीं जानता स्वामी जी, केवल 16 रुपए मेरा जीवन बदल दिया. So this is Swamiji. Now may I request Srimad Swami Shantatmanandaji Maharaj kindly to tell us. Students might say, मेरा तो काम है पढ़ाई लिखाई करना, छात्राणाम अध्ययनं तप. So what else should I do? Why should I serve the country? And if at all, how can I serve the country? You cannot find a better person than Swami Shantatmanandaji Maharaj, the head of Ramakrishna Mission Delhi, who is a great motivator and inspired thousands of students all over the country. Srimad Swami Shantatmanandaji Maharaj, he will just talk on how can the students serve the country. Revered Maharaj.
ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंदसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. The revered monks in the dais, the revered monks in the audience, assembled devotees, parents, guardians, and last but not least, the students, who are really the center of focus of today's this seminar or deliberations. I wish they had been given a little more seat in the front. Anyway, see, the whole conversation, the whole seminar, the whole discussion is again it is centered around Swamiji. स्वामी विवेकानंद की केंद्रित है हम सब जो चर्चा कर रहे हैं. I would like to tell you a brief description of Swamiji. उनके बारे में उनके अनन्य एक अनुयायी सिस्टर क्रिस्टीन ने जो कहा. What did Sister Christine? This is how she begins the reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda. At long intervals of time, a being finds its way to this planet is undoubtedly from a different sphere. He brings along with him to this sorrowful world some of the glory, power, and the grandeur of the far distant region from which he came. He walks among men, but he does not belong here. He is a wanderer. He tarries but a night. This is how she begins. And she goes on to say, blessed is the country in which he was born. Blessed are those who lived on this earth at the same time. And blessed, thrice blessed, are the few who sat at his feet. So imagine, this is how a Western disciple talks about Swami Vivekananda. साधारण ये भारतीय परंपरा में विशेष रूप से शास्त्र की चर्चा करते हैं, हम उसकी बाकी स्तर पर भी ले सकते हैं। अनुबंध चतुष्टय करके एक चीज हम लोग वही उसके आधार पर चर्चा करते हैं। पहला चीज तो विषय है, सब्जेक्ट। व्हाट इज द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ this deliberation, particularly the topic that was given to me? How the students can serve the nation. The explanation or understanding this topic is विषय के अर्थ है, that we will unravel or understand as we go forward. दूसरा है प्रयोजन. व्हाट इज द नीड? मैं क्यों करूं? देश के लिए तो मैं बाद में सोचूंगा, मैं तो अभी छात्र हूं बा छात्री हूं, मेरा क्या है? यस, दैट ऑल्सो वी शुड फाइंड आउट. व्हाट इज द कनेक्शन? संबंध क्या है? संबंध दो चीज लेके, पहले हम सबको क्या परस्पर किस स्तर पर, किस जगह पर, किस चीज लेके हम लोग संबंधित? व्हाट इज द कनेक्शन अमंगस्ट ऑल ऑफ अस? आई थिंक दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग वी शुड फाइंड आउट. बिकॉज यू नो, एज सिटीजन्स ऑफ दिस कंट्री, भारत की नागरिक होने के नाते, ना तो भविष्य के नागरिक हो जाएंगे, ऐसा होने के नाते द ओनली कनेक्शन हम सबको बीच में क्या है? मैं कहां से आया हूं, इन लोग कहां से आए हैं, सारा भारत से विभिन्न प्रांत के आए हुए लोग सब बैठे हैं यहाँ. There are people from all the corners of India sitting here, maybe in different numbers, but there is a representation from different parts of country. इतना तक नहीं है, ये 140 करोड़ भारतवासी, हम सबको लेके क्या चीज है which is common to all of us? That is, all of us belong to this country. भारत मेरा देश है. भारत के नागरिक होने के नाते हम सब परस्पर संबंधित है. We are connected to each other as citizens of this country. इसीलिए कहाँ बहुत बाढ़ है, वहाँ गरीबी है, करोड़ों करोड़ों भारतवासी वो गरीबी का सीमा रेखे के नीचे जी रहे हैं. मैं 10 तला, 20 तला, 25 तला मंजिल में मैं मौज कर रहा हूं. दैट सिचुएशन इज नाइदर डिजायरेबल नॉर मेंटेनेबल. ये देश इतनी सहनशील है. द कंट्री इज सो टॉलरेंट. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर टॉलरेटिंग द ह्यूज इम्बैलेंस बिटवीन द रिच एंड द पुअर. मैं साधारण तो ऐसे भाषण नहीं देता हूं. छात्रा छात्रियों के बीच में घूमते उनके साथ बातचीत करके मैं ऐसे कुछ चर्चा करता हूं, लेकिन आज वो अवसर नहीं है, इसलिए मैं एक तरफा बोल रहा हूं. बाद में किसी अवसर हो तो हम लोग चर्चा करेंगे परस्पर. सो यू नो, टुडे 95% of India's wealth is in the hands of 5% or less than 5%, much even less than that. 95% धन दौलत संपत्ति, 5% भी नीचे संख्या लोग भोग कर रहे हैं. Because we are tolerant, we are not breaking into homes Today in South Africa, it has already happened. कितना बहुत बाद में आजादी मिली साउथ अफ्रीका का, लेकिन already the less privileged people, the poor, are barging into the houses of the rich and taking away possessions. मैं कितना दिन देखते रहूंगा, मेरा सामने एक आदमी तो इतना भोग है, उसका कितना सुविधाएं हैं. Right in front of me, I find someone becoming millionaire, billionaire, and so on and so forth. Whereas even for a morsel of food or the minimum necessities of life, रोटी कपड़ा मकान भी मेरा कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है, सहन नहीं होगा. It can lead to a very disastrous situation. There will be more and more violence. Today, why there is so much of violence in the country? जब भी आप कोई आंदोलन के नाम पे कुछ घोषणा करें, हजार हजार युवक वहां जाके खड़ा हो जाता है. क्यों? विषय पर उनका कोई संबंध नहीं है. They are not connected with the topic of the आंदोलन, or why an आंदोलन or a strike or a hartal is being organized, protest. They know that आप हर साल मान लीजिए विद्यालय कॉलेजेस से 1.5 करोड़ के अधिक बच्चे लोग निकलते हैं, उसके अंदर 10% के भी अगले पढ़ाई की कोई ही व्यवस्था नहीं है. Not even 10% can pursue their education beyond the college level. आप इंजीनियरिंग मेडिकल की बात छोड़ ही दीजिए, साधारण एक स्नातक होना, even to become a graduate, it is beyond the scope of more than 10%. तो हर साल आप करीब 1.5 करोड़ युवकों का आप समाज में छोड़ते हैं, जिनका कोई अगले पढ़ने का व्यवस्था नहीं है, नौकरी की व्यवस्था नहीं है. वो एक वायलेंस छोड़ के क्या करेंगे बताइए? No, they know if they go to any आंदोलन, they will get 1,000 rupees per day. अच्छा खाना पीना शराब भी मिलता है. So that is why there is so much of violence. We need to understand, and that as young students you must understand even now. यहाँ आपका संबंध है, यहाँ एक विषय आपकी जरूरत है. That's how you are. This topic is of interest to you, and this connection is very much there, because the things are only going from bad to worse. Unless in some way we try to understand and bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. अमीर गरीब की जो फर्क है किसी तरह थोड़ा भी कम हो जाए, तब तक कोई शांति में नहीं रह सकते हैं. No one can live in peace. We are constantly under threat. Anytime people can barge in. The number of, snails being snatched, mobile phones being snatched, रास्ता पे हर रोज जो हो रहा है 20-25 साल की पहले नहीं होता था, और दिन के दिन वो खराब ही होगा जब तक आप सब विशेष रूप में the students and the youth of today, unless they take it upon their shoulders the responsibility to do something to regenerate our nation, they will not be spared. इसलिए आपकी स्वार्थ से, for your own dire necessity, you must look at the country, try to understand where it is and what can you do in your own way. फिर भी विवेकानंद क्यों है? Why विवेकानंद? विवेकानंद की अधिक देश प्रेमी कभी भी भारत में जन्म नहीं लिया. I think, महात्मा गांधी जी 1921 में बेलूर मठ भ्रमण करने के लिए आए थे. जाते से ही उन्होंने विजिटर्स बुक में लिख के गया, I have gone through his works thoroughly, and after reading them, my love for my country has become 1,000-fold. उनकी किताब पढ़ने के बाद ये देश के प्रति मेरा प्यार 1000 गुण वृद्धि पाया. समझ लीजिए कितनी बड़े महात्मा गांधी, जिनके हम लोग देश पिता कहते हैं, फादर ऑफ द नेशन. In his own handwriting he writes, my love for my country became 1,000-fold. रविन्द्रनाथ क्या लिखा उनके बारे में, क्या कहा? If you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In him everything is positive and nothing negative. वही सिस्टर क्रिस्टीन लिख रही हैं अपना स्मृति चरण में, in her reminiscences, our love for India gave birth in our hearts the first time we heard him pronounce the 5-letter word India. हम सबको हृदय में भारत की प्रति जन्म लिया पहले बार उनकी मुंह से एक इंडिया शब्द हम लोग सुन पाए. लिख रहे हैं, you cannot imagine what all he could convey in that single 5-letter word, the way he would pronounce it. He could convey by the way he would speak India's glorious past, its present degradation, its future glory, its culture, its history, its tradition, what not. That was his love for India. क्योंकि स्वामी जी हम सब की तरह साधारण स्तर की मनुष्य नहीं थे. He was not interested. ए देश सेवा वगैरह उनका मूल तो ऐसा सोच ही नहीं था. वो जन्म ही लिए थे दूसरी कारण से. श्री रामकृष्ण देव उनके बारे में कहा, इस ध्यान सिद्ध है. कल हम लोग सुने, जन्म से ध्यान उनका प्रिय था. इसलिए जब भी श्री रामकृष्ण देव उनको पूछा तुम क्या करना चाहते हो, मैं हमेशा समाधि में डूब रहना चाहता हूं, कभी कभी वही अवस्था से उतर के थोड़ा कुछ लेके फिर समाधि में डूब जाओगा. बट श्री रामकृष्ण कुछ नहीं हुए. बहुत उनका डांटा, बोला क्या तुम्हारा इतना एक नीच बुद्धि है. मैं सोचा तुम यहाँ कहा बड़ा वटवृक्ष बनोगे, उसकी छाया की छत्र में हजार हजार तो संसार में जले हुए मनुष्य आके आश्रय लेंगे. तुम क्या अपना के मुक्ति के बारे में सोच रहे हो? तुम ये गाना नहीं गाते हो ना, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. तुम क्या आंख बंद करके भगवान के देखना चाहते हो? आप खोल के नहीं देखोगे. That day something else happened in his heart. And we all know the history of his Bharat Brahman, when he toured India and finally when he sat on this rock in Kanyakumari for 3 days and 3 nights. उस समय संपूर्ण रूप से भारत की तस्वीर, भारत की उस समय का स्थिति, भविष्य की उज्जवलता, सब कुछ उनके सामने आ गया था. In that extraordinary vision, which he has not shared in great detail with anybody, he could clearly understand the present, the future glory of India, the present degradation, his own role, what he was to do. So obviously, विवेकानंद is the obvious choice. क्यों? हम सब एक नागरिक होने के नाते ना भविष्य में नागरिक हो जाएंगे आप लोग. In that connection, we are all connected with each other, and we are all in turn connected to Vivekananda because he was the greatest of patriots who have ever been born in this country. So हम लोग विषय भी चुन लिया, संबंध भी बना लिए. So that is why Vivekananda is so relevant. That's why he said, अगले 50 साल सब देव देवताओं के ताक में उठा के रख दो, भारत माता तुम्हारी एकमात्र आराध्य देवता. So you know, obviously, what else can be our choice other than Vivekananda, who lived, you see, if you really understand Swamiji's life, the first part of his life, till he went to, till the Mahasamadhi of his Gurudev, मान लीजिए 1886 तक, जन्म से 23 साल अपना खोज में, ढूंढ में, क्या वो प्राप्त करेंगे? वो कौन थे? Who was he? To realize, understand his own nature, his extraordinary divinity. That was the first 23 years. But having done that, the rest 16 years, starting from 1886, till he entered into Mahasamadhi voluntarily, खुद ही वो महासमाधि में लीन हो गए थे. तब तक 16 साल दिन रात सिर्फ भारत 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 छोड़ के दूसरा शब्द नहीं था. दिन में, रात में, स्वप्न में, निद्रा में, जागृत अवस्था में, हर समय it was the only word that resonated in his heart. लेकिन वो जानते थे मेरा समय बहुत कम है. इसीलिए when he came back from the west, he immediately set to task himself what he has to do in this regard. इसलिए उन्होंने रामकृष्ण मिशन स्थापना किया और जितना संभव युवकों को उद्बुद्ध किया. His idea was to inspire the youth. That was what he was doing largely. And you know, he had tremendous faith in the youth of India. As someone carrying forward his legacy, as someone who has listened to him through others, all of you also have quite a lot to do, although you are quite young. You don't have too much of time, but let me, in a little bit of time that is left, let me try to give you a few limited ideas. पहले चीज आपका, क्योंकि हम सबको एक हमेशा जीवन का एक आदर्श ढूंढते हैं. ऑल ऑफ अस वांट अ रोल मॉडल, एन आइडियल फॉर आवर लाइफ. सारा भारत का, सारा दुनिया का आप कोई एक ऐसा कोई आदर्श व्यक्ति आप चुनना चाहते हैं. द ग्रेटेस्ट, द फर्स्ट चॉइस ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड वुड बी प्रोबेबली स्वामी विवेकानंद. Particularly in our country, a person who shed every drop of his blood thinking about the welfare, how to restore its glory, I don't think we can go beyond Vivekananda. That's why in 1885, when the late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi wanted to select a youth icon for our nation, उस समय भी उनका अनुभव हुआ भारत का युवकों बहुत भटक रहे हैं. They are going डायरेक्शनलेस. उनके सामने ऐसे कोई व्यक्तित्व, ऐसे कोई व्यक्ति का जीवन आदर्श रूप में रखना चाहता है ताकि सब उनका ऐसे कोई उद्बुद्ध होके अपना जीवन में देश के लिए भी बहुत कुछ करेंगे. सो शी डिक्लेयर्ड. उस समय तो भारत सेकुलर सेकुलर उस समय से बहुत नारा चल रहा था, फिर भी एक सन्यासी को देश में सर्वश्रेष्ठ स्थान उन्होंने दिया. कहा हिज बर्थडे विल बी सेलिब्रेटेड एज द नेशनल यूथ डे. सो आप लोग भी अभी इस अवस्था से पहला चीज स्वामी विवेकानंद का कुछ पढ़ो. टेक सम ऑफ हिज लिटरेचर, मेक इट अ पार्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ. सी ऑल दीज आर ऑल आई एम सेइंग एज अ पार्ट ऑफ योर सर्विस टू द नेशन. क्यों? ये देश के आप क्या कर सकते हैं उसके पहले थोड़ा आपका समझना चाहिए. वेयर आर यू, हु इज योर आइडियल, हु इज योर रोल मॉडल. क्योंकि हम सब चुनते हैं. सपोजिंग यू मेक अ फिल्म स्टार एज ए रोल मॉडल और अ स्पोर्ट्समैन एज ए रोल मॉडल, आपका क्या है, उस दिशा में आप बढ़ सकते हैं. इफ यू वांट टू बिकम ए स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन यू कैन गो. सपोजिंग यू आर नॉट एज गुड, लाखों लोग बच्चे लोग बैट लेके निकलते हैं घर से. डज एवरीवन बिकम अ तेंदुलकर और विराट कोहली? नो. सो आपका निराश ही मिलेगा. बट ऑन द अदर हैंड, इफ यू हैव अ पर्सन, इफ यू हैव स्वामी विवेकानंद एज योर रोल मॉडल, आप जिस दिशा में बढ़ना चाहते हैं उस दिशा में वो आपका मदद करेंगे. क्योंकि उन्होंने कहा यू आर द मेकर ऑफ योर ओन डेस्टिनी. A first individual in the world who had immense faith in every individual. हर व्यक्ति के ऊपर उनके इतना विश्वास था, सबको विश्वास करते थे. So obviously, you know, if you go to Vivekananda, you will never be turned back. कभी भी वो आपके प्रति नाराज होंगे, कभी भी आपका वो बाकी ऐसे ही वापस भेजेंगे. He will always guide you, always inspire you, whatever be your background. आप पढ़े भी अच्छा भी हो, नहीं भी हो. You may be good in studies, not good in studies, अमीर गरीब, जिस जाति से जहां से भी, wherever you are, he will inspire each and every one of you because he believed sincerely and it was an experience that in you there is extraordinary power and potential. मान लीजिए जीवन में तो आध्यात्मिकता तो जरूर है, लेकिन आप जिस स्तर पे अभी है, obviously you are worried about your career, about your future, मैं क्या करूं, कहाँ नौकरी करूं, क्या मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा. So although all of us are divine potentially, अभी आपका क्या है, जब आप आपके भविष्य के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, जरूर सोचो. Think of becoming great, think of achieving extraordinary success in your life. उसके साथ इतना ही चाहिए, थोड़ा दूसरों के प्रति भी थोड़ा जोड़ दो उसके साथ, आपके जीवन बहुत सुंदर बन जाएगा. See, you can, because see, unless supposing you give my wonderful industrialist, आप बड़ा एक शिल्पपति बन जाए, yes, you may have personal wealth, but आपके हजार 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 लोग का आप कुछ व्यवस्था कर सकते हैं, नौकरी दे सकते हैं, जिसकी वजह से लाखों लाखों मनुष्य का उपकार होगा. So don't think that all of you have to become paupers, nothing. Achieve greatness, achieve success, become great doctors, engineers, industrialists, जो भी बनना चाहते हैं बनो. लेकिन इसके साथ थोड़ा उन्होंने जो महामंत्र दिया, दूसरे के बारे में भी थोड़ा सोचना, अपना जीवन में ले आओ, आपका कुछ भी कम नहीं होगा जीवन में. So you will do well for yourself at the same time you can also have some thought about someone else. मैं एक आपकी सच घटना एक शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. कुछ साल की पहले आप सब सुने होंगे जरूर, IIM अहमदाबाद, द टॉप मोस्ट मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट इन द कंट्री. वहां से निकलती है आपकी 1 करोड़ अधिक सैलरी मिल सकता है. दैट इज द रेटिंग. सो कई साल पहले वहां से एक दक्षिण भारत के लड़का पहला स्थान प्राप्त किया था. He was offered by many multinationals, करोड़ रुपये की सैलरी की उनकी सब ऑफर आया था, लेकिन he refused everything and he said I am going to set up a snacks chain. थोड़ा नाश्ता जो जहां से बिकेगा ऐसा कुछ कहीं मैं सेटअप करना चाहता हूं. सब बोला अरे क्या बुद्धि है, तुम इतना बड़ा बड़ा ऑफर तुम रिजेक्ट कर रहे हो, क्या मिलेगा इससे. लेकिन उनका कुछ था. क्यों? उनकी माँ वो बचपन से अपना पिता की खोया था. माँ घर घर पे इडली बेच के उनके पढ़ाया था. वो इसी पढ़ाई थी, इसी व्यवस्था की, क्योंकि और कुछ उपाय नहीं था. इसी से धीरे धीरे वो इंजीनियर भी बन गया. 1-2 साल नौकरी करके फिर IIM अहमदाबाद में ज्वाइन किया. वहां से वो निकले. उस समय उन्होंने सिद्धांत लिया मैं ऐसा सिर्फ मेरे के लिए नहीं सोचूंगा और दूसरों के लिए सोचूं. इसकी क्या परिणाम, जो मल्टीनेशनल्स में जो उनका पैसा मिलता था उसके भी अधिक उनको कमाई हो रहा है. लेकिन साथ के साथ 10,000 15,000 लोग को उन्होंने नौकरी भी दे पाया. इसीलिए स्वामी जी ऑलवेज से ड्रीम बिग, बड़ा सोचो, जीवन में बड़ा कुछ जरूर करूंगा. शिक्षा के बारे में भी वही स्वामी जी कह रहे हैं, द मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ परफेक्शन ऑलरेडी इन यू. परफेक्शन क्या है, डिविनिटी क्या है, आप कई तरह समझ सकते हैं. मैं मेरे छोटे से ही बताना चाहता हूं, आपके अंदर जो अनंत शक्ति, अनंत ज्ञान, अनंत संभावनाएं, इस सबको निकालना वही मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ द डिविनिटी और दैट परफेक्शन. इसीलिए आप सबको ये सब जरूर ध्यान रखना चाहिए. और इसमें मैं क्या बता रहा हूं, ये देश में बहुत सारी चीज की जरूरत है. आप तो खुद के लिए तो जरूर अच्छा करेंगे, लेकिन स्वामी जी ने जो कहा था, स्वामी जी का मूल मंत्र जो था, ये देश का 2 आदर्श के प्रति ये देश स्थापित है, त्याग और सेवा. मान लीजिए हम सबको जीवन में, दुनिया में जो भी देश, जो भी समाज, जो भी परिवार, मान लीजिए आपके घर पे क्या हो रहा है, आपकी माँ बनाती हैं कुछ, सबको बांटती हैं, कुछ नहीं बचता तो बहुत खुश हो जाती है. कभी की क्या करती है, मेरा पहले उठा के मेरा भाग रख दूंगा, बाकी सबको दूं, ऐसा सोच रही है कभी. शी डज सेवा, शी डज सैक्रिफाइस, सारे संसार खुश है. एवरीवेयर. यहां में बहुत सारी टीचर्स है, वो क्लास में अच्छी तरह से पढ़ाएं, थोड़ा समय लेके क्लास की बाहर भी कुछ पढ़ाएं. then they will be sacrificing a little of their time, little of their scope for extra income, doing the service, and they will be serving the students. उनका ये भी ऑप्शन था, यहाँ किसी तरह पढ़ाऊं, बोलूंगा तो मेरा घर आ जाओ, अलग पढ़ाऊंगा. That's also possible, which is better. So you know, each one of you at your age, maybe there are servants in your house. उसके बच्चे स्कूल जा नहीं पा रहे, स्कूल जा रहे तो कुछ पढ़ाई नहीं हो रहा है. Definitely you can share your books, can share your knowledge, teach for some time. आपका बहुत आनंद होगा इसे भी. In so many ways. मान लीजिए आप बड़े धूमधाम दिवाली मना रहे हैं, आपकी सर्वेंट्स बच्चे देखते रहे, नहीं मैं उसके लिए करूंगा, मैं जो हुआ उसकी भी मैं व्यवस्था करूं. See, in a small way you can begin even now at this age, because you know the field of tyaga and seva is infinite. उसके कोई सीमा नहीं है. जो भी जितना छोटा बच्चा भी हो, every can take part. मान लीजिए रास्ता भी जा रहे हैं, कोई बुजुर्ग रास्ता क्रॉस करना चाहते हैं, हाथ पकड़ियों के दूसरी तरफ पार कर दो रास्ता. दैट्स ऑल्सो इज सेवा, दैट्स ऑल्सो इज सर्विस. लेकिन आप क्या है, अभी से मूलतः आपका मन में ये सब विचार, यही करना, मैं बड़े होके क्या करूंगा. सबसे पहला स्वामी जी का जीवन का आदर्श बनाना, साथ के साथ छोटी छोटी किताब से प्रारंभ करके स्वामी जी की पढ़ी, उनकी पढ़ना, ध्यान देना, सोचना, ताकि आपके जीवन के साथ हर रोज स्वामी जी जोड़ रहेंगे. That is the way to greatness. That is the way to success. If you do that, even now you will start serving your country, because the first step to serve India is to love Vivekananda. स्वामी जी के आप प्यार करें तब ये देश की सेवा कर पाएंगे. Then along with that, as I said, all these ideas, even in a school, जहां जहां संभव, सिर्फ मेरा जीवन सिर्फ मेरे के लिए नहीं है, खुद का तो अच्छा बनूंगा, साथ के साथ दूसरों के लिए कुछ करूंगा. If this becomes the mantra of your life, you have started serving your country right now. Imagine that. But you see, every day you will get opportunity. आप क्लासरूम में जा रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं गंदा है, अरे आज तो स्वीपर नहीं आया, सब चिल्ला रहे. नो, इमीडिएटली मैं कुछ ले लिया, ब्रूम साफ कर दिया. दैट इज योर सर्विस. इसी ऐसे नहीं है बड़े बड़े कुछ मंच बनाना, कोई प्रोग्राम लेना, करोड़ों करोड़ रुपया खर्च करना. नो, रामचंद्र जी आप जानते हैं, दैट स्क्विरल इट कैरीड जस्ट अ पार्टिकल ऑफ मड and it was blessed by Sri Ramchandra in building the bridge. So you know, अभी से सोचना. अंत में मैं एक आइडिया आपके शेयर करना चाहता हूं. देश में देखिए बहुत सारे प्रतिष्ठान अभी आगे हैं, भारत में भी, उन सब अपना अपना फेलोशिप प्रोग्राम उन्होंने चालू किया. There is a Teach India program, there is a Mahatma Gandhi fellowship, there are so many fellowships. आप सब बचपन होके, मेरे ख्याल से भारत सरकार भी ऐसा कोई नियम भी बनाए, बहुत अच्छा होगा. नहीं भी बनाए, आप सब बड़े होके, मैं ग्रेजुएशन की बाद 2 साल देश के लिए दूंगा, ऐसा कोई प्रतिष्ठान के साथ जोड़ लूंगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू नो, फ्रॉम रामकृष्ण मिशन दिल्ली, महाराज ने बताया सारा भारत जुड़े हम लोग एक मूल्य शिक्षा प्रोग्राम चला रहे हैं, जिसके अंदर अभी तक 6000 विद्यालय नामांकन कर लिया, 12 लाख के अधिक बच्चे लोग का प्रभावित हो गए. बहुत सारे 50,000 60,000 टीचर्स के हम लोग प्रशिक्षण दिया. लेकिन हम लोग ये सब करने के लिए 40 के अधिक निःशुल्क सेवा दे रहे हैं, बड़े बड़े सिविल सर्वेंट्स, डॉक्टर्स एंड अदर्स. लेकिन सारा भारत हम लोग रिसोर्स पर्सन नियोग किए, क्योंकि एक ऐसे कोई समाज सेवा प्रतिष्ठान तो एक मल्टीनेशनल की तरह महीने नहीं दे सकते हैं. So our salaries are moderate, but we have instituted a Vivekananda fellowship program. 2 साल ए अवेकन जागरूक नागरिक कार्यक्रम के साथ जोड़ के 2 साल सारा भारत जाने का आपका मौका मिलेगा, बच्चे के साथ, स्कूल्स के साथ, टीचर्स के साथ, क्योंकि ये देश सेवा प्रारंभ होगा स्कूल प्रांगण से. बड़े होके तो सब स्वार्थी बन जाते हैं, उस समय दूसरे के बारे में सोचने का समय भी नहीं है. लेकिन when you are young, when your minds are fresh, जैसे महाराज ने बताया, आप पवित्र है, इस अवसर पर, इस जगह आपका स्टैंडिंग एट दिस जंक्शन ऑफ योर लाइफ, अभी से आप ये प्रोग्राम के बारे में बता किए और दूसरे ऐसे प्रोग्राम के साथ भी आप जुड़े हुए. 2 years I will give in the service of the nation, ताकि आपका सीवे में भी अच्छी आएगा, उसके लेके यू कैन गो फॉर मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन, मेनी अदर प्लेसेस. फिर भी आपका इतना तक मन में एक रहेगा, ए देश के लिए मैं 2 साल दिया. बिकॉज यू नो, एट दैट टाइम when you are not bothered with family and other responsibilities, probably that is the best time you can devote very fearlessly, freely, without any second thought for the welfare of the country. ऐसा कोई विशेष रूप से जागरूक नागरिक कार्यक्रम, वो संपूर्ण रूप से स्वामी जी की शिक्षा इन्होंने जो बताए थे, उनकी जो वाणी, इसके आधार पर बड़े हुए प्रोग्राम के साथ आप जुड़े हुए. इनफैक्ट फॉर टाइम वी टॉक मोर अबाउट दैट, बिकॉज दैट टॉक्स अबाउट Atma Shraddha. Instilling Atma Shraddha in every student is the central idea of this program. Probably our country needs this more than anything else. Our youth, there is enough opportunities, enough water, enough power, enough land, everything is enough. What we lack is Atma Shraddha और self belief. एक प्रोग्राम के माध्यम में हम लोग एक आत्म श्रद्धा जगाने के लिए प्रयास करें. आप भी आपकी ग्रेजुएशन की बात 2 साल आप जुड़ जाएं, देश के लिए बहुत बड़ा सेवा होगा. लेकिन आपका जो खुद का मेंटेन करने के लिए पर्याप्त व्यवस्था जरूर करेंगे, लेकिन इट विल नॉट बी ए ह्यूज सैलरी, इट विल बी इनफ जस्ट टू मेंटेन यू Now itself you start thinking about that. Now itself you take a resolution. When I come to that age, after I finish graduation, I will devote 2 years for the country. It's such a beautiful school, such a wonderful institution. 100 years is not a small time. You're all part of this, and all those who have come, go back fully enriched by Swamiji's ideas. Be inspired by Swamiji, then you will grow. If you grow, Samaj will grow, and the country will grow. The world itself will progress. We will see a new world arising out of the young minds who are here. Thank you.
Read Swami Vivekananda, love Swami Vivekananda. He is the greatest friend of each of the youth. And loving Vivekananda means loving the country, because Swami Vivekananda is India personified. And while loving Swami Vivekananda, you have to serve the cause of the country. Initially, Maharaj Ji told us, Garb se kaho, Bharat mera desh hai, but that is not enough. Kuch to karna hai, and what can I do? Then he just cautioned that if you don't do anything for the poor, for the unfortunate brethren of ours, padhai likhai chaupat ho jayega. So everything depends on what you do for the country, for what you can do for the people who are less fortunate than you are. Thank you, Swamiji. Pranam Maharaj Ji, for your brilliant speech, for your inspiring talk. Now, I ask the students, I ask you, how many of you know the famous quotation of Swami Vivekananda on education? Raise your hand. Education is the manifestation of the perfection. Then, how many of you know? Fill in the blanks. Education is the manifestation of the perfection already in. Thank you. But, do you know, Swami Vivekananda gave another beautiful definition of education. In a question put by Raja Ajit Singh to Swami Vivekananda, what is education? Instant came Swami Vivekananda's reply. Education is the nervous association of certain ideas. What does it mean? Why should an idea be instinct? We will request Srimad Swami Tattvasharanandaji Maharaj, who is the principal of Brahmachari Training Center and who was also head of the B.Ed college at Belur Math, to answer this question. What do we mean by this, and what we can do, what we can learn from this brilliant education by Swami Vivekananda? Education is the nervous association of certain ideas. Maharaj Ji.
Om Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Sansara Saram Bhujagendra Haram Sada Vasantam Hridayara Vinde Bhavang Bhavani Sahitam Namami Om Yasya Vidyena Kritino Vayamcha Bhuvanani Cha Ramakrishnam Sada Vande Sharvam Swatantram Ishwaram. At the outset, I offer my devoted pranams to most revered Srimad Swami Subhidananda Ji Maharaj. I offer my reverential pranams to Swami Suparnananda Ji, Swami Shantatmananda Ji Maharaj, Swami Shastragananda Ji. I convey my namaskaras to respected Sri Torun Goswami, Shakti Da. I offer my pranams to other Swamis and Brahmacharis present here. I owe my pranams and deep sense of gratitude to Swami Jayantyananda Ji Maharaj for giving me this proud privilege for being present here in the centenary celebration of Vidyapith as a speaker, though I would have been otherwise be here as an ek-shevak of this place. I extend my good wishes to the youth delegates of this convention and all the members of Vidyapith family. I have been instructed to say something on one of Swamiji's famous sayings education is the manifestation of the perfect. Education is the nervous association of ideas. Just now you have heard that Swamiji gave many definitions of education, out of which two are most prominent, mostly well known. One is education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man, and another is education is the nervous association of certain ideas. This education is the association of nervous association of certain ideas. This is a psychologically speaking, theoretically speaking, philosophically speaking, it is a very intricate and difficult topic. I have every doubt whether I will be doing justice to the assignment given to me. As you have already heard, that in 1891, when Swamiji was in Mount Abu and was living in an abandoned cave, he met the Raja of Khedri, Prince Ajit Singh, through Raja's private secretary, Munshi Jagmohan Lal. During their conversations, Prince Ajit Singh asked many questions to Swamiji. One of the questions was that, Swamiji, what then is education? In reply, Swamiji answered that I should say that education is the nervous association of certain ideas. We must admit that it was one of the aptly worded path-breaking definitions of education, that education is the nervous association of ideas. We must admit that that is a aptly worded path-breaking definition of education. If seen from a historical perspective, the concept of nervous association of ideas was not a new one. In the year 1690, English philosopher John Locke, in his book, An Essay Concerning Human Understanding, used the idea association of ideas for the first time. Then in the year 1739, Scottish philosopher David Hume, in his book A Treatise of Human Nature, maintained that the essential forms of association were by resemblance, by contiguity in time or place, and by cause and effect. American philosopher and psychologist William James, in his noted book The Principles of Psychology, which was published in 1890, shifted emphasis away from association of ideas to an association of central process caused by overlapping successive stimuli. And this theory of William James got its popular culmination in 1903 in the theory of conditioned reflexes, as was propounded by Russian physiologist Pavlov. Thus we see that in all the Western theories which were tried to be built up before the advent of Swami Vivekananda, by usage, association of ideas, it was tried to be meant or understood that certain ideas are to be injected from outside into us, and by means of educational process, those ideas are to be made associated with our very constitution. If that also, we see that all the Western psychologists and philosophers, by the usage, association of ideas, they understood that from outside great ideas will come, and through our nervous association it is to be assimilated, it is to be made a part of our very constitution. That's how we must have to include ideas into our very nervous system. That was the Western perspective. But this is not that standing which Swamiji wanted to mean by saying education is the nervous association of ideas. This is to be understood very carefully. Swamiji's position is totally different from the Western psychologists and philosophers. According to him, ideas are not to be imported or borrowed from outside. Ideas are inherent in man from his very birth. Only those ideas are to be unveiled or discovered or manifested by means of stimulating our nervous system, sometimes by taking the help of external stimulus. Since the indwelling self of every human being is self-luminous, self-effulgent Atman. Atman, actually that word Atman means two things. Firstly, it should be self-luminous, self-effulgent, and second, that entity should be the indwelling essence of everybody and everything. That is the meaning of Atman. So since the indwelling self of every human being is self-luminous, self-effulgent Atman, and since Atman is of the nature of pure knowledge and pure wisdom, no ideas need to be brought from outside. Swamiji made this point very clear in Karma Yoga. In the chapter Karma and its effect on character, there in great detail Swamiji said on this topic how to make the ideas associated with our nervous system. Swamiji wrote in that chapter on karma and its effect on character. Now this knowledge again is inherent in man. Swamiji is writing, no knowledge comes from outside. It is all inside. What we say a man knows should in strict psychological language be what he discovers or unveils. What a man learns is really what he discovers by taking the cover off his own soul, which is a mine of infinite knowledge. So nowadays in 1960s, since 1960s, there evolved one theory, psychological theory in the West that is called constructivism. Constructivism of Vygotsky, etc., Jean Piaget, etc. According to that constructivist theory, that edifice of knowledge is to be constructed inside the classroom by means of interaction between the teachers and the taught. So knowledge is not to be borrowed from outside, it will be constructed inside the classroom by means of an interaction between the teachers and the taught. The same thing Swamiji said many years back. Swamiji is again writing, we say Newton discovered gravitation. Was it sitting anywhere in the corner waiting for him? It was in his own mind. The time came and he found it out. All knowledge that the world has ever received comes from the mind. The infinite library of the universe is in your own mind. The external world is simply the suggestion, the occasion which sets you to study your mind. But the object of your study is always your own mind. That is a very technical point that Swamiji is mentioning here. The falling of an apple gave the suggestion to Newton, and he studied his own mind. He rearranged all the previous links of thoughts in his mind and discovered a new link amongst them, which we call the law of gravitation. It was not in the apple. That means the law of gravitation was not in the apple, nor in anything in the center of the earth. All knowledge, therefore, secular or spiritual, mind it, all knowledge, therefore, secular and spiritual, as in the human mind. In many cases, it is not discovered, but remains covered. And when the covering is being slowly taken off, we say we are learning. And the advance of knowledge is made by the advance of the process of uncovering. The man from whom this veil is being lifted is more knowledgeable man. The man upon whom it lies thick is ignorant. And the man from whom it has entirely gone is all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent. There have been omniscient men, and I believe there will be yet, and that there will be myriads of them in the cycle to come. Like fire in a piece of flint, knowledge exists in the mind. Suggestion is the friction which brings it out. So, Swamiji explained the nervous association of ideas in great details. We need not to explain it further. Now the question is that certain ideas are there which are helpful during our youth. When we are students, those ideas are needed for us. So, you know that Swami Nirvedananda Ji Maharaj, who was the second secretary of this Deoghar Vidyapith and who was considered to be the architect of the academic area, academic administration of both this Deoghar Vidyapith and Belghoria Students' Home, he compiled some mantras from different scriptures. Whenever new students come to be admitted in our educational institutions, we hold one Vidyapith Homa. Vidyapith Homa is nothing but some vows to be undertaken by the students, just immediately after they are admitted in our schools or colleges or university. There in those mantras, the ideas which are to be made a part and parcel of our very existence are put beautifully. So those mantras, I am not going to discuss in details. A few of the ideas which have been mentioned there, I will try to just touch upon. The first idea, this is only one idea. This one idea is appearing as many ideas. Those ideas are already there. These are not to be borrowed from outside. But stimulating our nervous system, we are to be aware that these ideas were there. If we practice those ideas, if we put those ideas into practice, then we will be benefited, the society will be benefited. That is the essence of Swamiji's saying. So amongst those few ideas, I am just now mentioning a few. First is, we are to be aware of our body, and we are to be aware of the fact that body is our physical body is the first means of practicing righteousness. In the mantra it is said that Shariram Adyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam Iti Nitivakyam Avadharja Sramak Shama Niroga Shariraya Swasthavidhi Palana Paro Bhavitum Aham Yatha Sadhyam Yatishye. So we are to make our body strong, that Peshayo me lauha sama bhavantu. We are to make our muscles like iron. Then Snayovo me ayang siva bhavantu. We are to make our nerves like steel. Hridayam me vajrasaram bhavatu. We are to make our heart like thunderbolt, like that. Even in Samvedya, Kenopanishad, we see that Kenopanishad, it stands for the realization of that fact that this Pratyagatman is the Paramatman. But there, this Upanishad is also being started with that Shanti mantra, that Om Apyayantu Mamangani, Bhak Pranas Chakshuhu, Srotramatho Balam, Indriyani Cha Sarvani, Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. Let our body be strong, let our senses be strong, let our limbs be strong, because these will help us realizing our real nature. Then another concept we are to be taken care, which is to be taken care of, is that awareness that we must undergo austerity called study. When we are students, our only austerity is to study. That should be our only austerity. Chhatranam adhyanam tapaha. Second mantra goes like that. So, tapa, that austerity, penance, that is a very important word. Without austerity, nothing great can be achieved. So, even the Ramayana, the great epic, it starts with that word tapa. Tapa swadhyaya niratam, Valmiki muni pungavam, like that. So, tapasya, especially when we are students, is very, very important. Tapasya, kaik tapasya, vachik tapasya, manasik tapasya, physical austerity, verbal austerity, mental austerities, these are to be practiced very carefully. This is also one important concept. Then third concept is that Satyameva Jayate Nanritam, that conviction that truth alone wins and not the untruth. So we ought to stick to truth. That is another concept. Again, I am repeating that these are not the concepts which are separated from each other. This is only one concept, that Atman alone exists. This one concept is appearing as many concepts. So through our nervous stimulation, this realization should take possession of us. And what will happen when this realization will take possession of us? That Upanishad says that two things will take place. First, eradication of all sufferings. All these sufferings, three types of sufferings are there: Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adhyatmika. These three types of sufferings will be eradicated. And second thing which will take place, that it will enable us to be one with bliss absolute. We will be enjoying immense bliss. Brahmanande Shudra Anandanam Antarbhavat, in that way. So I will end this talk by quoting from one of the poems of Swami Vivekananda. Actually, this is a part of one letter which was written to Mary Hale. Mary Hale misunderstood the Advaita philosophy. That when we say that Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, everything is Brahman, we say that this rose is Brahman, these leaves are Brahman, this dais is Brahman. Swamiji is telling that I am not telling. That is some misunderstanding of the Advaitic Vedantic concept. What I intend to say is that only Brahman alone exists. And due to our ignorance, we are seeing it as the world, as Jagat. So Swamiji is writing, so Mary Hell, allow me tell, you mar my doctrine, wronging, balking, I never taught such queer thought, all is God, unmeaning talking. But this I say, remember, pray, God alone is true, all else is nothing. The real in me is none but He, never, never matter changing. Pranams to all and namaskaras.
I take a moment from you, sir. I'd request all the students, both from our school and outside, to not loiter here and there around the pavilion. For our students, I'd request our teachers to please see to it that the students do not loiter much, as that is creating a little bit of disturbance to the speakers on the stage. And then for the students from outside, I'd request the escorts to please take a note of this, and please do not allow your wards to loiter around this pandal. Off to you, sir.
Thank you, Maharaji, for your intellectually stimulating talk. And you have rightly pointed out that the whole world is in our minds. Doing is very good, but that comes from thinking. So we need to fill the brain, our nervous system, with high thoughts, high ideals. Whatever you think, that will be. आप जो सोचोगे, वही बन जाओगे. If you think yourself weak, weak you will be. If you think yourself strong, strong you will be. On this aspect, I would request Srimad Swami Shastraganandaji Maharaj, who needs no introduction anymore, after what most revered General Secretary Maharaj told the audience. He shouldered the twin responsibilities of the principal of Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission College and also the principal of Vidya Mandir, and during which both the institutions grew from strength to strength. So I just request him to talk on whatever you think that you will be, whatever you think that you will be. Hopefully, he will also let us know how to develop better concentration, how to have concentration of mind. Revered Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. शृण्वन्तु विश्वे अमृतस्य पुत्रा आये धामानि दिव्यानि तस्थु वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तं आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् तमेव विदित्वाति मृत्युमेति नान्यपन्था विद्यते अयनाय. Most revered General Secretary Maharaj Ji, I offer my humble pranams at your holy feet. My devoted pranams to revered Swami Suparanananda Ji Maharaj, Swami Shantatmananda Ji Maharaj, Swami Jayantananda Ji Maharaj, the secretary of this ashrama, all other senior Swamijis, Swami Tattaswarananda Ji Maharaj. My namaskar to respected Sri Torun Goswami, Sri Shakti Prasad Mishra, all other teachers, guardians, and my love and best wishes for our dear students. I know the time is, we are already delayed, so students don't get worried. I will not bore you for a long time. Let me start with a story. I've got it from one of my monastic brothers. It's a story written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The story is about the great stone face, which was a work of nature. It was formed on the perpendicular side of a mountain. When viewed at a proper distance, it resembled the features of a human face. The people who lived in the valley beneath that stone face had believed in a prophecy. The prophecy was that at some future day, a child would be born in the valley who could become the greatest and noblest person of his time and whose face would resemble the great stone face. In the opening of the story, we find a mother and a child named Ernest. The mother lived in a simple hut as they were very poor. However, the child was dutiful and helpful to her mother. The mother told him about the prophecy. Ernest was a thoughtful child, and since he had no teacher, the great stone face had become a teacher to him. He could gaze at the stone face for hours until he could learn something. Some good personality attributes are coming from the great stone face to him. The stone face seemed to give him a smile of kindness and encouragement always. One day, a tall man named Gathergold, who left the valley some years back and settled at a distant seaport, came back to the village. He was a very rich now. Everyone in the village considered him as the fulfillment of the prophecy. However, the great stone face seemed to tell Ernest, "Fear not, the real man is yet to come." After some years, when Ernest grew to be a young man and was marked by the inhabitants of the valley as industrious, kind, and neighborly, Mr. Gathergold, whom the villagers thought to be the prophesied person, died without leaving any notable mark of his character. Naturally, people of the village changed their opinion and started to wait for the great man to come. After a couple of years, another son of the valley, who had become a soldier many years before, returned to the village. The inhabitants of the village thought that he might become the great man of the prophecy. However, again, Ernest teacher, that great stone face, whispered again, "Fear not, the real man is yet to come." Years passed. Ernest became a middle-aged man. There appeared white hairs on his head, but his wisdom became known beyond his valley. Many people, even college professors, came to see and converse with him. He received them with sincerity, he spoke freely, and his face would brighten and shine upon them. Meanwhile, the warrior also passed away without keeping any commendable mark of his character upon the village people, who once again changed their opinion and waited to see when the prophecy could become true. While Ernest was growing old, there came to him the news of the arrival of a great poet. the sons of the poet found their way to Ernest. He asked, "O great stone face, is not this man, the poet, worthy to be your likeness?" The face only smiled to him, but did not reply. The poet eventually paid a visit to Ernest. The poet sat beside him and they talked together. The poet had never talked with such a man like Ernest, so wise, so gentle and kind. Ernest explained to the poet his expectation. However, the poet told that he was not worthy to be the likeness of the great stone face, as his life hadn't corresponded with his thoughts. As equal in the evening, Ernest started speaking to a group of neighbors in the open air, as usual. He began to talk what was in his heart and his mind. His words had power because they agreed with his thoughts. His thoughts had reality and depth because they harmonized with the life which he always lived. The poet listened to his words, and his eyes were filled with tears, and he said to himself that never was such a face so worthy of a sage as the mild, sweet, and thoughtful face of Ernest. The poet instantly shouted, "Behold, Ernest is himself the likeness of the great stone face." The inhabitants of the valley suddenly saw what the poet said was really true. Thus, the prophecy became fulfilled. I do hope this story has conveyed the intended message. Indeed, by continually dwelling on noble ideas, our characters become transformed, nay, transfigured, just as Ernest's was. The anecdote refers to us the concise title of our discussion, which is nothing short of a mantra of immense potency uttered by none other than Swami Vivekananda. I would read out the relevant passage. Students, please listen to me. Swamiji says, what a strong words are. Swamiji says, I quote, "Man stands on the glory of his own soul, the infinite, the eternal, the deathless, that soul which no instrument can pierce, no air can dry, no fire burn, no water melt, the infinite, the birthless, the deathless, without beginning and without end, before whose magnitude the suns and moons and all their systems appear like drops in the ocean, before whose glory space melts away into nothingness and time vanishes into non-existence. The glorious soul we must believe in. Out of that will come power. Whatever you think, that you will be. If you think yourselves weak, weak you will be. If you think yourselves strong, strong you will be. If you think yourselves impure, impure will you be. If you think yourselves pure, pure you will be. This teaches us not to think ourselves weak, but strong, omnipotent, omniscient. No matter that I have not expressed it yet, it is in me. All knowledge is in me. All power, all purity, and all freedom. Why cannot I express this knowledge? Because I do not believe in it. Let me believe in it, and it must and will come out. Thus Swamiji says. In this glowing passage, Swamiji brings home the most important truth of all, the glory of our real nature. Swamiji points out further the reasons for which we cannot manifest this glory. According to him, the reason is very simple. We do not believe in it. We may wonder if apparently so simple an act as believing can get us to so high a destiny. Indeed, it can. We seldom pay attention to the immense power of right thinking. Indeed, it is the self-hypnotism that keeps us roped to a false life. It's the continual assertion of our real nature that brings us back to who we truly are. If I go on reiterating that I am strong, I have the immense ability to overcome the odds of the life, I will certainly be able to achieve the strength. On the contrary, if I only repeat that I am weak, I am frustrated, weakness and frustration will naturally engulf me. I will now place before you two separate anecdotes. The first one is a story cited by Swami Abhedanandaji Maharaj, one of the brother disciples of Swami Vivekananda. This illustrates the effect of negative suggestions. Please listen to this anecdote. An experiment was made on a healthy young man who was going to his office in the morning. 6 of his friends put their heads together to give a suggestion to him without letting him know that what they want to do. As he started out of his home, one of his friends who was standing at the street corner came near to him and said to him, "Friend, how do you do? You look very sick today. What is the matter with you? How strange you look today. Are you really sick?" The young man first replied, No, I am very well. I have no trouble with me. I am all right." Thus, 6 friends held him up at different stations on his way to the office, and they all said him the same thing. Then this message got on his nerves. The young man went to his office and said to himself, "I do not feel very well now. What is the matter with me? All my friends have said I am sick. I must be sick." After a few hours, he began to feel the effect and was convinced that he was sick with a high fever. He stayed in a bed and called a doctor. The doctor came, but the man suffered for a time from the effect of these suggestions. The next day, it was explained to him that it was nothing but all a joke. I think message is again clear to all of you. The continuous brooding over the feeling that he was sick, the man ultimately became sick. Now let us listen to the second anecdote, that is from the life of Swamiji. I will quote Swamiji again. Swamiji says, "I was once traveling in the Himalayas. The long road stretched before us. There was an old man with us. The way goes up and down for hundreds of miles, and when that old man saw what was before him, he said, 'Oh sir, how can I cross it? I cannot walk anymore. My chest will break. I am so weak. I am so much tired.' I said to him, 'Look down at your feet.' He did so. And I said," Swamiji said, "the road that is under your feet is the road that you have passed over, and is the same road that you see before you. It will soon be under your feet." This powerful suggestion of Swamiji put a new lease of life into the old monk, and with renewed energy, he started the journey. Now anyone can ask, how can an individual transform his life, identifying and consequently cultivating the immense potentiality lies within him? Swamiji answers. These are the fourfold steps. Fourfold steps. These are the 4 steps we require to follow in our everyday life. First step, Swamiji says, fill yourself with the ideal. Fix the ideal and fill yourself with the ideal. Second step, whatever you do, think well on it. Before you do anything, first you think well on it, then go to the activity. Third, be the very power of the thought. The power of the thought should go through it, should go through you. And fourth, bring this thought to bear upon your life. Fill yourselves with the thought of your almightiness, your majesty, your glory. These are the 4 steps you have to follow. Every one of us has to follow in our life. You need not look outside, look inside. You need not search the treasure from the external world, rather explore the inner world. Perhaps maximum of you sitting here, especially school children or high school children, I think maximum of you are preparing or will be preparing for engineering course or medical courses. May I request you to learn 2 foundational courses. I think you know foundational courses. So I should request you to learn 2 foundational courses before you start learning your engineering and medical courses. These 2 foundational courses are: 1. Inner engineering. What does it mean? It means mapping, designing and delivering your own immense potential perfection and divinity as envisaged by Swamiji. This is one course, inner engineering. And 2, the second course, inner medication. We know the medication. If I get fever, I take Calpol. The medication comes from the outside world. Now let us start inner medication. What are those? 4 medications are required. 1, develop the power of concentration. 2, make yourself a purity storehouse. 3, create a large heart to fill everyone around you. And 4, nurture the highest ideal of service and sacrifice. So these are 2 foundational courses. My request, please try to study that. Please try to dwell on all these courses. Once you complete these 2 courses, you will be able to face all the odds that you have to face during your long journey of future life. I will conclude my talk with a simple story. A little boy of a small village, after completing his primary school, at the 4th grade at his village, he got admission to a renowned senior school of the city nearby. That was the first day of his new school. Seeing the simple clothing and knowing that he is coming from a small village, other students started making fun of him. The teacher soon arrived. After the class started, the teacher told the students to be ready for a surprise test. The teacher told all students to write down 7 wonders of the world. Everyone started writing the answer quickly, as everyone knew those things. The little boy from the village started to write the answer slowly. When everyone except the boy had submitted their answer paper, the teacher came and asked him, "What happened, dear? Don't worry. Just what you know as other student, just write what you know. Other students have learned about it a couple of days ago. You don't know, so don't worry." He replied, "I was thinking that there are so many things. Which 7 can I pick to write?" However, the small village boy also handed his answer paper to the teacher. The teacher started reading everyone's answer script, and the majority had answered correct, such as the Great Wall of China, Colosseum, Stonehenge, Great Pyramid of Giza, so on and so forth. The teacher was naturally happy, as all students had remembered what he had taught him. At last, the teacher picked up this village boy's answer paper and started reading. The village boy's answer paper. He has also written 7 wonders of the world. The teacher started reading. Let us read. Let us listen what these 7 wonders are as written by the small village boy. 1. To be able to think and learn. 2. To be able to be just and honest. Third wonder, to be able to feel for others. Fourth wonder, to be able to avoid greed and hatred. Fifth wonder, to be able to become humble but courageous. Sixth, to be able to become hardworking and confident. Seventh, to be able to love others and serve the people in need. These are the 7 abilities, the 7 wonders for the small village boy. The teacher stood stunned, and the whole class was speechless. Today, a little boy from the small village reminded them about the precious gift that God has given us, which are truly priceless wonders. However, with a loving note of astonishment, the teacher appreciated the student and asked, "My boy, how have you come to know all these excellent things?" The boy replied calmly, "Sir, I have been told by my previous teacher that we don't need to look away to find the excellent things from the outside. God has given us all the best ones within ourselves. We only need to nurture it to reach our goals." Please remember, God has given the best things within ourselves. We only need to nurture all these things to reach our goals. I pray to Thakur Ma Swamiji that we become increasingly jogged in the conviction of these best things that are already with us, our divine nature, and manifest the same in our thoughts, speech, and action. Dhanyavad, namaskar, thank you.
Like a brilliant teacher with 2 stories, 2 anecdotes, and 2 foundational courses, he has let us know about the power of the thought. Thank you, Maharaj. भाइयों और बहनों, आपके लिए एक बुरी खबर है. By the time today's school-going children go to job market, 47% of existing jobs will have vanished. जब तक आप जॉब मार्केट में जाओगे, 47% जॉब्स लुप्त होने वाला है. But there is an opportunity. By 2030, we'll reach a stage where 1/3 of the global workers, knowledge workers, will be Indians. But to avail ourselves of the opportunity, only bookish knowledge won't do. Vocational courses also won't do. We need to develop 21st century skills. Here is a great orator, Sri Torun Goswami, our loving Torunda. He will just let us know about the challenges and opportunities for the students of 21st century. And after he says, if you have any question, you can pass it on to the volunteer of the Vidyapith. Thank you. Torunda.
Most revered Swami Suvidanandaji Maharaj, General Secretary Ramakrishna Math and Mission, most revered Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj, most revered Swami Shantatmanandaji Maharaj, most revered Swami Tattvasaranandaji Maharaj, most revered Swami Shastrogyanandaji Maharaj, respected monks and brahmacharis of the order, distinguished guests, and my young friends. The Western psychologists say that we all suffer from a peculiar disease. It is called SAS, Short Attention Syndrome. We can't sit quietly and listen. So there is a proposal to reduce the timing of football matches. Instead of 45 minutes and 45 minutes and 10 minutes recess, experts propose that it has to be 20 minutes and 20 minutes, 2 halves and 5 minutes recess. Rest assured, I'll be finishing within the stipulated time. But before I start my speech on challenges and opportunities for the students in the 21st century, let me start with two personal notes. Swami Lokeswaranandaji, I was very close to him. He was a brahmachari here, Brahmachari Subhrata Chaitanya, in the early 1930s. Against he was the headmaster in 40s, between 1943 and 45. From him, I heard many stories of the initial years of Deoghar Ramakrishna Mission, Deoghar Vidyapith. So before I start, I pay my respect to Maharaj. And the second thing is, we used to come to Deoghar every year, and we used to put up at Hotel Dreamland, which was situated right opposite the ashrama. When Subhiranandaji was the secretary of this institution for more than a decade, he took this painstaking work to bring all the properties under Ramakrishna Mission. The old structures were pulled down and the +2 section has come up. I personally believe that this is a major work in the history of Ramakrishna Math and Mission. Since Maharaj is here, I offer my pranam, and because of his painstaking work, this institution is now enjoying an important role in the academic history of the country. Challenges and opportunities. Challenges are many, opportunities are equally many. I am talking about the challenges. Swamiji said, "Oh India, this is your terrible danger. The spell of imitating the West is getting such a hold upon you that what is good or what is bad is no longer decided by Shastras. What the white people praise or like are good, and what they censor or dislike are bad. Alas, what can be a more tangible proof of foolishness than this? We always try to copy the Westerners, completely forgetting that Western world is following our Vedanta. A new concept has come in the West. It is called attire perfection, attire rationing. And Western, those who are engaged in fashion industry, they are quoting two people. One is Mahatma Gandhi, the other is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda used to put on that saffron colored garment, but because of his tremendous personality, he could sail through. So people are saying in the West that don't buy clothes which you won't use. There was a time when people used to buy clothes. If you go to Hyderabad, there is a wardrobe of Nizam of Hyderabad covering a near 10,000 square feet, where his attires have been put on exhibition. These days, the theory is buy as little clothes as possible. Bill Gates, he never buys costly clothes. He always uses second-hand clothes. In Kolkata, in Newtown, a shop has come up where people go, give their old clothes, those clothes are repaired and they are sold. So this attire rationing, Vivekananda is a key person. How the Western world is following us. My teacher Odindam Chakraborty, he had been to the New York Center, Vedanta Center of Ramakrishna Mission, where Swami Sarvapriyanandaji is associated with. Now Sarvapriyanandaji takes a stroll on the Central Park, situated next to the New York Center, every evening. To walk with Swamiji, people registered their names. 15 people registered their names. They take a stroll with Maharaj, and during that 1 hour time, they ask questions on Vedanta. There is another monk of the Ramakrishna order, Ayon Maharaj, Swami Medhanandaji. His book on Vedanta has become immensely popular in the West. Odindam Chakraborty, my teacher, he told me that Ayon Maharaj, his brain is so fertile, and Sarvapriyanandaji has become a cult figure in the West. Young boys and girls, they run after Maharaj just to listen to him, just to listen to his speeches on Vedanta. So Vedanta is coming up very fast in the West. Swamiji had said this in 1897. I referred to 3 of his lectures after he came back from the West. Those lectures have been included in that famous book, Lectures from Colombo to Almora. After he came back from the West, in a lecture, Future of India, Swamiji said, let your motherland be your God for the next 50 years. All other gods are sleeping. One God is alive, your own country. His ears and legs are present everywhere. A peculiar statement made by a monk, remember, for the next 50 years, let your motherland be your only God. And there Swamiji said that we must set up an institution where people should go out to preach. After Swamiji delivered his Chicago lecture, he wrote a letter to Raja Pyari Mohan Mukhopadhyay, Raja of Uttarpara. There he said, expansion is life, contraction is death. Love is expansion, selfishness is contraction. So love your fellow men because that is a law of life. Then Swamiji wrote, those who go out, they do enormous good to the country. While in England in 1895, Swamiji said, had I been a moneyed man, I could have brought all of you to show the Western Hemisphere. Just think of a boy of 32 years of age. He was telling that his Guru Bhais who were in Kolkata, had he been a moneyed man, he could have taken them to the West to see the changes that are being taking place. And Swamiji was the first person to recognize that Indian philosophy, Indian culture will ultimately invade the world. Western world has understood that unless spirituality is there, this artificial civilization will not last long. Swamiji wrote his last letter to Nancy Hansbrough, and there he said that if Japan doesn't add spirituality, I do not know what will be the future of Japan. Japan is most advanced technologically, but the suicide rate is highest. Unfortunately, in India, a thin section of youngsters, they are running after this material prosperity. They are more interested in branded shirts and trousers and goggles and shoes. They are more interested in newer and newer models of cell phones, whereas our culture is that you must give up. You must use only those little things that are essential for you. So things are changing very fast. In the West, they are learning Vedanta. In the West, they have started sacrificing their lives for others. A lady who frequently visits the Western Hemisphere told me a few days back that earlier, when retreats were held, they used to attend yoga classes. Yoga in the West earlier was meant for physical fitness. Nowadays, with yoga classes, meditation classes are regularly held. And the Western Hemisphere, they are giving a scientific approach to meditation because they believe that unless you meditate, you cannot survive in this tortured and uncertain world. A few days back, at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, we have all heard how English boys and girls, they chanted from the Upanishads, Shanti Mantra. They chanted. It has become viral and many people have seen this in social media. So they are chanting. In England, in 125 schools, a famous report of Sati Chaturvedi, the second language is Sanskrit. Unfortunately, in India, we do not follow Sanskrit. Unfortunately, in India, we do not follow our own culture. It is very unfortunate that we even forgotten to touch the feet of the seniors because we think that the trash of the Western civilization will help us grow. Will not, will be crushed. Those who are following the Western education blindly, rest assured that your days are numbered. Plato used to say, imitation is a beggar, wedded to a beggar and producing beggar offsprings. So if you imitate the West, he is nothing but a beggar, and the beggar dies a natural death, but very unfortunate death he or she faces. About challenges, about opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities. Swamiji was the first person to talk about startups. Though he didn't mention this word startup, he said that we need those businessmen who will not look after their profit only, and their duty will be to showcase the products made by our artisans. In 1893, when he was in Chicago, he visited the International Fair. Again in 1900, when he was in Paris Congress, he used to go to the fair regularly. In 1895, when his brother Mohendranath Datta and Swami Sharodanandaji were in England, he asked both of them to go to the fair, because Swamiji believed that in the fairs, Indian products could be showcased and it could get international market. He told his very close disciple, Shishya Sharat Chandra Chakraborty, that go and sell Banarasi saris in the West, because the women are interested to make gowns out of them. And then he said that if you are born, then you should leave a deep mark. So things are changing. Startups are very important. In India, we have tremendously rich folk culture, and there are startups that are highlighting the folk culture. They are being sold outside, and the artists are getting their due. Earlier, the middlemen used to get the money, but now the artisans are getting the money, and they are into newer and newer venture. In western Midnapur, there is a place called Noya Pingla, where you get Potochitros. The Potochitris are all Muslims, and what they make is essentially Hindu gods and goddesses. These Potochitros are immensely popular in the West, and scholars from Germany and Italy, they have come to western Midnapur in Ghatal to see how they make these Potochitros. So India, Swamiji believed that will show the way in next century. He said that India will arrive, India will shine, not with the power, brute power, but with the power of conscience. This is India's beauty, that with the power of love, with the power of conscience, India will change the world. In 1955, after the Second World War, Russell and Einstein, they prepared a charter which was supplied to all the leaders of the country. There they said that there is an artist for every one of us. Let him loose to spread joy everywhere. Now India has recognized this artist. India has recognized our inner power. Those who are present here, my young friends, you should remember one thing. Ramakrishna Mission does not control armies or treasuries. We have no state power. We depend on the conscience of people, particularly the youths, to decide a question whether poor people in India should be abandoned in absolute silence or allowed the elementary right of their plight being presented before the conscience of mankind. Those who want to work for the poor, those who want to elevate the standard of the poor, should come forward and set up such startups. You should always think of doing business. Adani and Ambani, they are not all. You should start doing business. You should open a startup and see how things move. And self-help groups are there. Try to get as many people as possible, particularly women, particularly the women artisans. And in few years' time, the economic condition of the country will change completely. With these few words, I take a leave. I again offer my pranams to the monks of the Ramakrishna order and my respect to distinguished guests and my love and sincere wishes to the young boys and girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Goswami, for your spellbinding talk. And you have rightly pointed out, the West is now looking forward to the East, to be specific, India, for their spiritual sustenance, for their sustenance total. And it would be foolish on our part to go for the thrown away things, immaterial things. So choice is yours. He has rightly pointed it out. And now, since we did not have any questions from the students, I think I would say, with the kind permission from the General Secretary Maharaj, this seminar is over. Now over to Mayuk.
Thank you, sir. We really feel privileged and enlightened to hear so many speakers and who have contributed to us in such a great manner. I hope all of us will take something or the other from this seminar, and this will definitely help us to instill in us the choicest ideals of Swami Vivekananda in our lives. Now, as Sir has told, it's time for a question-answer session. So, is there anyone from the audience who would like to question any of our speakers here? You can raise your hands and we shall reach out to you. Okay. So we move on with our program further, and for that I would like to request Shri Sanjeev Ranjan Sinha, alumnus 1992 batch, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith Deoghar, to deliver the vote of thanks for the program today.
Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. I bow down to Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans, Swamiji, Ma, Sri Sarda. I bow down to the Lord Shiva, standing here, जिसको हम बोल सकते हैं तीर्थ नगरी, शिव क्षेत्र, 12 ज्योतिर्लिंग जो हैं, उनमें से एक बाबा बैद्यनाथ धाम की भूमि पे मैं उनको नमन करता हूँ. At the same time, I bow down to all of you individually and collectively, because in you is the same jiva which Swamiji says, serve Shiva, serve Jiva as the Shiva in them. I bow down to each of you individually with a special emphasis on the way Swamiji has illustrated in his life, and the monks of Ramakrishna Mission and Mutt illustrate in their day-to-day activities, day in and day out, for last over 100 years. And what is that? Here I will like to quote what Lord Sri Krishna, when he was the baby Krishna in the Karagar of Kansa, told his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva. When he was born, and because there is no particular word in English for them, I will call Avirbhav of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. What he said was, how do you look at me? Putra bhavena, Brahma bhavena. Because if you think I am the Lord Supreme, you would not be able to conceive me of, because of the limited mind humans have. And if you don't think me as, if you think as my putra, only the personal relationship, you will miss the larger entity that I am. With that spirit, with that bhav, I bow down to each of you as the same Brahma, which you call by different names, which we call in our relationships as brothers, sisters, mata, pita, putra, bhai, bahan. Every one of you in different aspects of relationship. I know time is running short, so I will try to finish even before my allotted time, so that I don't miss any single person who owe our gratitude, for whom we are indebted all life, and all of us are indebted to that. Our Shastras provide for the Panch Mahayagya for all Grihastha. It has exception for the Swamis, but for the Grihastha it's mandatory, Panch Mahayagya. I will take that Mahayagya that we daily need to do as the rin we owe. What are those? And this is why I am out at the outset spelling that, so that you are sure that the things are going for the end where I am. The number one is Brahma Yagya, second is, as you know, Deva Yagya, third is Pitri Yagya, fourth is Nri Yagya, and fifth is Bhuta Yagya. One by one, I will categorize every single of you, one here or not here, all the beings on the earth or anywhere. And that is, first is, I bow down to all the rishis, the shastras, all the gurus, and all the avataras born and yet to be born. I bow down to all the gods and goddesses in the temples that we go and worship. I bow down to all our gurus. And since we have studied here, and this school is focused on education, I bow down to all the monks of Ramakrishna Math and Mission, who are our gurus and who are our trailblazer path leaders. I bow down to them because they illustrate about this, how we can bow down to each of you, because if worship in the temple is a worship, so is all activities in that bhav. Especially all the Swamijis on the dais, I bow down to Srimad Swami Suvidanandaji Maharaj, the General Secretary of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. As you already know, it is the international body and it has a global influence, and we are so privileged, and I feel so happy that he is also local as well as global, in the sense that he was one amongst us and now he is looking after all over the world. I bow down to Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj, who is the Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gold Park. Next, I bow down to Swami Shantatmanandaji Maharaj, who is the Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission, New Delhi. He told about how the students can be of the service to the nation. I bow down to Swami Tattva Saranandaji Maharaj, Principal Probationer Training Center, Belur Math. I also bow down to Swami Shastra Gyananandaji Maharaj, who is the Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Sarda Pit, Belur. With that, I bow down to everyone. I have to express the gratitude to all our fellow colleagues, teachers, monks, who have been in service of this institution for hundreds of years. At the same time, and the last two I want to explain within just 2 or 3 lines is, as the Maharaj said, that we are under immense debt we cannot repay. For every day, even the mute animals and the plants also owe our gratitude. So I bow down and thank you to them also. And with that, I also thank the persons who have been involved in doing all the activities related to the organizing of this program. At the end, I thank Swami Jayantanandaji Maharaj, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Vidyapith, Deoghar, and Swami Divya Sudhanandaji Maharaj, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission, Vidyapith, Deoghar. In the end, I will say what in Mahabharata has been said. Okay, I'm so sorry. Because I started with the Swamijis, I didn't start. What I said was, even though I had said the Gerua, the Swamijis illustrate the life of Tyaga and Seva in every day of the life, and Sri Torun Goswami, resident editor of Millennium Post, ex-city editor, ex-editor, the Statesman, I bow down to him. At the same time, I bow down to Sri Shakti Prasad Mishra, who wonderfully moderated the session, and he is the Professor Nivedita Chair, Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gold Park. In the end, I would like, with one single note, what has been said in Mahabharata, and that is, we are going to depart from here, and it is Ek Vrikshe Samarudha Nana Ranga Vihangama Pratakale Sarva Diksu Tatraka Parivedana. We have assembled here and we will dissipate and disappear from here, but to meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have come to the very last part of the first session of the second day of our centenary celebration. and to deliver the closing song named Namo Narendra Vivekananda, we have Shri Binay Kumar Jha to perform the singing, Shri Hari Shankar Burman sir in tabla, Shri Vishwamaya Chakravarti sir in percussion, all faculty members of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith Deoghar, and accompanying them will be Shri Chandan Chatterjee, ex-faculty member Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapith Deoghar, in percussion as well.
त्रिभुवन पावनकारी, त्रिभुवन पावनकारी, ज्ञान भक्ति वैराग्य प्रेम से, ज्ञान भक्ति वैराग्य प्रेम से भूषित नरतनुधारी, त्रिभुवन पावनकारी, नमो नरेंद्र, नमो नरेंद्र, नमो नरेंद्र विवेकानंद, त्रिभुवन पावनकारी।
करने को
त्रिभुवन पावनकारी त्रिभुवन पावनकारी ज्ञान भक्ति वैराग्य प्रेम से ज्ञान भक्ति वैराग्य प्रेम से भूषित नरतनुधारी त्रिभुवन पावनकारी नमो नरेंद्र विवेकानंद त्रिभुवन पावनकारी त्रिभुवन पावनकारी त्रिभुवन पावनकारी।
I'd request
श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय। जय बाबा बैद्यनाथ जी की जय।
a voter ID card by the name of Prasad Tibrewal have been found on the campus. If anyone knows who the person is, you can collect it from the green room adjoining the stage. Thank you, everyone. We meet next on our educational exhibition at the secondary school building at 2 p.m. post-lunch. Thank you all.